Things were settling down, but Hao Jie's arrival caused the atmosphere to tense up once more. Hao Jie had tossed a couple of blood-drenched arms in front of the Darkness family, Profound Ice family, and Blaze family. Ming Su's group, the group representing the Light family, was the only one that didn't receive the same treatment. I don't like my food raw. Ganxing frowned before he made a grabbing motion and caused the broken arms to vanish into his spatial ring. But thank you for your kindness anyway. I'll eat them once I grow hungry. On the other side, Shen Luo of the Profound Ice family picked up the arms and roasted them on a burning fire crystal. He said coldly, I treat my food first before I eat as well. Song Yi of the Darkness family wordlessly put away the arms Hao Jie had tossed at her direction just like Ganxing. All three representatives of their groups, Ganxing, Shen Luo, and Song Yi, had demonstrated their stances through their action. Hao Jie chuckled strangely as he stared at the crowd. Whatever. Make sure to be careful around that guy. Everyone in the Bloodthirst family is crazy, and that guy especially so. Lu Yang was practically whispering right next to Qin Lai's ears. She seemed afraid that Hao Jie would catch wind of her comment. A fragrant scent that smelled like lilies entered his nose, causing Qin Lai to blank out for a bit. Is everyone here? Song Yi looked at the crowd. My side is ready at least. Ming Su immediately responded. Everyone in the Light family was smiling. On the surface, they looked like the most amiable people out of everyone present. But for some reason, they were the ones Hao Jie and his group hated the most. Hao Jie looked eager to start a fight the second he arrived and saw Ming Su. His expression matched Shen Luo's expression when he saw Song Yi. Sis, those high-rank abyss devils came from the same entrance we came in, right? Ganxing asked suddenly. Everyone looked at the spot and Yun showed up immediately. Thick clumps of abyss devil energy was changing rapidly above the pitch-black sky. Sometimes it looked like a violent whirlpool, and sometimes it looked like a vast, floating sea. Sometimes it also looked like a malevolent devil's mouth. That's right. Those high-rank abyss devils from different abyss levels all enter here through this entrance, Song Yi said. Can't the Darkness family just lock down that area? Shen Luo raised his voice. Qin Lai was puzzled himself. According to his knowledge, the rank 10 bloodline warriors of the Darkness family had beaten the Great Lord of the Darkness Abyss. This meant that the Darkness family was free to hunt in this abyss level to their heart's content. Logically speaking, this ancient secret realm should have fallen under the Darkness family's control completely. So why was there still high-rank abyss devils from other abyss levels invading this secret realm? Locked down? How? Song Yi snorted coldly before answering. The reason the Great Lord of this abyss level had leaked the existence of this secret realm was in hopes that the high-rank abyss devils from other abyss levels would invade this place en masse and deal massive damage to our people. Due to the change in circumstances, the experts of other abyss levels are now free to send as many descendants into this level as they wish. It won't be viewed as an offense to the rule of the Great Lord of the Abyss. After all, the Great Lord of the Darkness Abyss was the one who invited them in the first place. There are 108 levels inside the Abyss. Each level contains several deadly rank 10 Great Lord of the Abyss. Even the God race can only engage about 7 Abyss levels in combat at the same time. Truth be told, the God race had always obeyed the ancient rules of the Abyss since the beginning of our operations. We've never engaged the entire Abyss in an all-out war. Since this secret realm is located in the Darkness Abyss, and the Great Lord of the Abyss himself had given his permission, there's nothing we can do to stop high-rank Abyss devils from other Abyss levels. If we did, we would earn the ire of all Great Lords of the Abyss. The God race doesn't want to declare war against the entire Abyss. In fact, neither the Spirit race nor the Soul race have the power to fight the entire Abyss either. If we wish to continue operating in the Abyss, then we must obey the rules of this place. Shen Luo fell silent after hearing Song Ye's explanation. Everyone else looked thoughtful as well. Qin Lai frowned to himself. To think that the Abyss is this powerful. It was only now he realized just how deep the foundation of the progenitors of Ling Yushi, Gray, Gordon, and Luz's bloodlines truly were. It was true that the soul race, spirit race, god race, and other powerful races of the galaxy were using the abyss as a natural flesh farm. However, all these invading forces had obeyed the laws of the abyss strictly. They were merely attacking a specific number of abyss levels at a time. There were 108 abyss levels in total. Every level was incredibly huge, and every level contained, at minimum, several rank 10 Great Lords of the Abyss and dozens of rank 9 Lords of the Abyss. The Blaze family could only attack the Extreme Flame Abyss. Even now, victory was an uncertainty for them. The Profound Ice family, Light family, Darkness family, and Bloodthirst family only attacked a few abyss levels of their choice as well. They had always avoided declaring war against the whole abyss. No one knew exactly how many rank 10 Great Lords of the Abyss were in all 108 abyss levels, especially considering that these lifeforms easily had several 100,000 years of lifespan. If these abyss devils were willing to unite as one, if they were willing to fight the invaders together, if they were willing to leave the abyss and step into the infinite galaxy, it was unlikely that the god race, spirit race, and soul race could resist them easily even if they were to join hands. This was without mentioning the secrets hidden inside the bottom 8 levels of the abyss. They were known as the abyss purgatories. The devils existing there were only scarier and more powerful. Is everyone here? Songyi? It was at this moment Yun's voice rang from inside the shrouded area. We're all here. Then lead them in. All right? At Frost Desolation Abyss, Ling Yushi, whose bloodline was now rank 7, was standing cultivating in between a mass of ice pillars. Nether Realm's 9 Hell Evil scripture was floating above her head. Suddenly, Frost Desolation Abyss rich abyss devil energy started gathering around her from every direction. They entered the 9 Hell Evil scripture. A giant, blurry figure slowly took form inside the 9 Hell Evil scripture. Ling Yushi abruptly looked upward. A terrifying, demonic figure that shrouded even the sky of Frost Desolation Abyss itself was up there. Its mere presence felt like it could destroy the world. The human race, the Boluo realm races, the Azura race, and the G family, and Skymender Palace martial practitioners who had just crossed over from Boluo realm suddenly felt like someone was choking their necks. Some Fragmentation realm and Nirvana realm martial practitioners had to crawl on the ground due to its immense pressure. They couldn't even raise their own heads. Millions of kilometers away, Lord of the Abyss Barthas suddenly let out an angry roar. However, his voice seemed to be shaking. At nearly the same time, for powerful souls that made everyone felt like their very bodies were about to explode appeared above Ling Yushi's head. They were the 4 Great Lords of Frost Desolation Abyss. These Great Lords had awakened from their comprehension seclusions instantly after the demonic giant had appeared above Ling Yushi. That was why they had manifested themselves here using a portion of their soul. Lord of the bottom 8 abyss levels, why have you manifested your soul here? The Great Lord of the Abyss, who once showed himself while Qinlai and Enos were fighting each other, asked using the ancient language of the Abyss. Are you trying to start a war between our abyss levels? Another Great Lord asked loudly. War? Do you seriously think that anyone from the upper levels is a match for us? The terrifying, blurry figure showed no fear despite facing 4 rank 10 Great Lords of the Abyss. He said arrogantly, the only reason I manifested my soul here is because I sensed the presence of a descendant. Since I've not arrived personally in my true body, I haven't broken the ancient rule. The rule that states that no one from the bottom 8 abyss level is allowed to re-enter the upper levels. The 4 Great Lords of the Frost Desolation Abyss seemed to let out a sigh of relief when they heard this. They fell silent and waited seriously. They seemed curious to know what was going to happen next. The god race had found a good place in the darkness abyss. Since you possess my bloodline, and you're at rank 7 right now, this is the perfect opportunity to check if you're worthy of my blood. The terrifying, demonic figure said to Ling Yushi, if you can awaken an origin ability of my bloodline, I'll officially accept you as my descendant and invite you to the abyss purgatory I command. All right, you can choose a few people to accompany you as well, so that you won't be in too much of a disadvantage. You have 15 minutes. Once 15 minutes is up, I'll send you to that ancient secret realm directly. The terrifying existence that had appeared in the sky of Frost Desolation Abyss quietly awaited Ling Yushi's decision. In fact, the entire Frost Desolation Abyss seemed to have quieted down. The 4 great lords of the Frost Desolation Abyss were still floating in the air, just in case this great lord of the Abyss Purgatory decided to take matters into his own hands. But they were fine with his desire to send Ling Yushe into the secret realm. That was why they kept their silence. The Soul Beast's territory was extraordinarily silent right now. The humans from the Land of Chaos, the races of Boluo Realm, the Azura race, the G family, and the Skymender Palace were all acting as meek as lambs. The 5 terrible demonic presences in the sky were powerful enough to give even a Void Realm expert a hard time. This pressure was nothing like a human Genesis Realm experts from Spirit Realm. Everyone was afraid and shocked. "My queen, please. Decide quickly." Gray, the rank 9 Ghost Eye clansman's eyes were looking fearful. He urged her to make a decision in a trembling voice. Ling Yushe was just as shocked as he was. A short moment of hesitation later, she chose Ling Feng, Ling Xianxia, Gao Yu, and a couple of excellent warriors from the 3 Nether Realm races. "I'll send you to the Darkness Abyss right now." The terrible existence from the Abyss Purgatory suddenly conjured a black hurricane with his soul shadow. The group was caught by the hurricane before they were done preparing. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The hurricane could move 10 million miles in an instant. It quickly entered the Abyss Channel. The 4 great lords of the Frost Desolation Abyss that had appeared above the ice pillars slowly vanished after the hurricane had gone away. The races on the ground finally felt like they could breathe again. They slowly stood up. What a terrifying Abyss devil! Is this the strength of a rank 10 great lord of the Abyss? That is just their souls too. Just how strong are they? The silver rank forces of the Land of Chaos, the races of Boluo Realm, the Azura race, the Skymender Palace, and the G family all looked fearful and worried after the demonic figures above their heads had gone away. Everyone was seized by a sudden and terrible fear. Miao Fengtian and Curtis hurriedly informed Qin Lai about what just happened through their souls. Qin Lai was heading to the secret realm at Darkness Abyss under Yun's lead, so he couldn't show up in Frost Desolation Abyss personally. Instead, he sent his Soul Beast avatar to Frost Desolation Abyss using Boluo Realm's White Bone Sacrificial Altar. The Soul Beast avatar took on Qin Lai's appearance. At the realm entrance, everyone including the Cullen family had gathered here after Miao Fengtian had notified them of Qin Lai's arrival. Right now, the experts of dozens of forces and races were looking dark and lost. In fact, a lot of people felt like pulling out of this expedition. The soul manifested by the 4 rank 10 great lords of the Abyss was so destructively powerful that they couldn't muster any will to resist. In that moment, even Void Realm experts like Tang Yuan, Gray, Jiao, Huanyang, Hunchback Ba, and so on felt like they were infinitesimally small. It was something they had never felt when they faced a Genesis Realm expert from Spirit Realm. They were starting to doubt their own decision and wondered if their operation in the Frost Desolation Abyss was too reckless. It was at this moment the human-like Soul Beast arrived from the realm entrance. The Soul Beast avatar had even used Dark Soul, its Bloodline ability, to adjust its soul presence to become identical to Qin Lai's. The Dark Soul ability was a very mysterious ability. It was one of the reasons the Soul race had taken a liking to the Soul Beast race. After the Soul Beast avatar had physically transformed into Qin Lai and adjusted its soul strength to match that of its true body, it became near impossible to distinguish between the two of them. The Soul Beast avatar's soul had originated from its true body. Therefore, the avatar and the true body had nearly identical soul presence. Only those that were even stronger than the Soul Beast and knew the Soul Race and the Soul Beast's secret well would be able to identify it. At the Frost Desolation Abyss, the strongest existences present were rank 9 Bloodline experts and 6-level Soul Altar experts. No one was stronger than his Soul Beast avatar. Qin Lai had no reason to believe that anyone could see through the Soul Beast avatar's disguise. It was he had come as the Soul Beast without worry. Qin Lai. The leaders of all races and forces surrounded him immediately like he was a life-saving straw in a sea of water. Qin Lai, Miss Ling was... Tang Beidou yelled urgently. The queen was taken away. The 9-horned warrior Gordon couldn't help himself. I know. Qin Lai raised his hands and beckoned them to calm down. Please quiet down and listen to what I say. The crowd abruptly grew silent. Qianlai examined the crowd and discovered in satisfaction that no one except his soul servants, who had a direct link to his soul, had noticed that he was the soul beast avatar. This is an opportunity for Wuxia. This trip to the darkness abyss is the best chance to prove her bloodline's worth. Qianlai looked the denizens of Nether Realm first and smiled. That terrible existence from the bottom 8 abyss levels is probably the very source of the Dark Nether race's bloodline. The reason he appeared here, even at the risk of offending the 4 great lords of the Frost Desolation Abyss, was probably he was attracted by the presence of her awakened bloodline. It would appear that he found her to have potential, which is why he had decided to send her to a newly discovered ancient secret realm. A short pause later, he said seriously, "You don't need to worry too much. This trip is probably good for Wuxia because she may be able to awaken her scariest, core bloodline ability and obtain acknowledgement of that great lord of the abyss." "What will happen after that existence acknowledges the queen?" Luz asked. "He will do his best to quicken Wuxia's growth. In the future, Wuxia may become a true ruler of the abyss purgatory, and you as her followers will have the fortune to cultivate and live at the bottom 8 levels of the abyss," Qianlai said. The bottom 8 levels. The abyss purgatory. Gray, Gordon, and Luz all looked lost. It's a miraculous place where you can directly feel the laws of the abyss. It is a better place for high-rank bloodline experts like you all to evolve your bloodline compared the top 100 abyss levels. The Nether Realm denizens slowly calmed down after hearing his explanation. They quieted and pondered about the abyss purgatory. Seeing that he had appeased the Nether Realm races, Qianlai turned to look at Teng Yuan, Ji Yao, Hua Anyang, Gon Faping, and the leaders of the Land of Chaos. He said, "The 4 great lords of the Frost Desolation Abyss will never manifest themselves as long as you obey the rules of the abyss." "What are these rules?" Teng Yuan asked. Qianlai thought for a moment before starting. "I'll explain the most important ones only." Everyone paid close attention to him. As long as you haven't become a rank 10 bloodline expert or a Genesis realm expert, everything you do here is acceptable and within the rules of the abyss. If you're capable, you can kill as many abyss devils as you wish. The 4 great lords of the abyss will never interfere as they believe you are like grindstones that strengthen their abyss devils. Qianlai chose his words carefully before continuing. "In reality, the lords of the abyss will fight amongst themselves even if we haven't entered this place. The abyss obeys the laws of the jungle, and only the winners have the right to keep evolving and hope to reach rank 10 one day. Your arrival may even please the 4 rulers of Frost Desolation Abyss. So of course they're not going to interfere with your battles against the lords. Of course, this is all under the assumption that none of you are at rank 10 bloodline or Genesis realm. If you are, then the abyss will respond according to a different set of rules. The 4 great lords of Frost Desolation Abyss will be forced to interfere directly." Hua Anyang asked, "A different set of rules?" "It means that the abyss will respond with all-out warfare," Qianlai said seriously. "For example, the 5 great families of the god race are currently engaging 5 abyss levels in war. The amount of power involved in a war like this is unimaginable, and right now we don't have the power to start a war just yet. Therefore, you must remember never to send a Genesis realm expert or rank 10 bloodline expert into this place. Also, if you've ascended to rank 10 or Genesis realm here, you must stop attacking the abyss devils of this place and leave as soon as possible. If you do so, then the great lords of the abyss will not take it as a challenge. Of course, those 4 fellows will chase you away themselves once you've reached that level. If you refuse, they will respond with force. That's about it, I think." The crowd that was about to collapse upon themselves mentally gradually calmed down after hearing his careful explanation. As long as they hadn't reached rank 10 bloodline or Genesis realm, everything they did was within the rules of the abyss. They would never have to meet those 4 absolutely terrifying great lords of the abyss. After understanding this, they slowly relaxed instead of leaving in a hurry and fear. The only thing they were really afraid of was the 4 great lords of the abyss suddenly deciding to kill them out of a fit of passion. That was something they absolutely didn't have the physical or mental capacity to endure. If there's nothing else, then I wish you all good luck and good harvest. I hope that most of you have ascended to the next realm when I see you again. Darkness Abyss. Qinlai, Ganxing, Nanqi, and the others held hands with each other as they stepped into the turbulent whirlpool made of abyss devil energy. The reason they did this was to avoid getting lost once they got inside. They also did this to avoid being separated by some unknown power along the way. They weren't the only ones who did this. Some high-rank abyss devils held hands before they went in too. Qinlai felt dizzy as he spun like a top inside the unknown abyss passageway. It was literally pitch black as he and his teammates traveled into the secret realm. He couldn't even see Lu Yang, who was right beside him. After an unknown amount of time that somehow felt like an instant and several years, the terrible dizziness suddenly vanished completely. Boom! He hit the ground hard like he had just fallen from a high altitude. His entire body was aching. Wah! It hurts. What kind of shitty place is this? Lu Yang, Ganxing, Nanqi, and a couple others' voices rang not far away from him. However, he still couldn't see them even though they were very close to him. This was a darker place than even the darkness abyss itself. He could literally smell Lu Yang with his nose, and yet he wasn't able to see her even though they were this close to each other. It was as if this world embodied true, absolute darkness. Not a bit of light existed anywhere in this place. He subconsciously tried to scan his surroundings with his soul. When his soul thoughts floated out of his mind and stretched towards outside, his face suddenly stiffened. He discovered that he couldn't detect anything even though his soul was outside already. Lu Yang, Ganxing, and the others were clearly nearby, and yet his soul consciousness just couldn't pick up their presence. This secret realm was darkness not just to his eyes, but his soul consciousness as well. The only thing he could perceive with his soul was this strange world of darkness. His eyes and his soul consciousness seemed to have lost their functions inside this secret realm. Here, everyone including those around him were as if blind people. Come closer to me, everyone, and make some noises so I know you're there. Ganxing shouted loudly from somewhere inside the darkness. He was telling everyone to gather around him. Eft! Rip! ZZZT! The sound of unleashing flames and striking flints rang from nearby. Suddenly, a tiny spark of light appeared in Qinlai's vision. However, it lasted for only an instant before it was devoured by infinite darkness once more. Somehow, this world felt like the chaos of all beginnings. Even light didn't seem to exist in such a place. Damn it! Even the fire of our bloodline is converted to just high temperature and no light at all. Just what the hell is this place? We've all turned blind here. One of Nanqi's rank 7 bloodline warrior couldn't help but swear after multiple attempts to strike a light to no avail. Qinlai stopped trying to ignite his own flames after he heard the swearing. He walked towards the yelling Ganxing with a heavy heart in his chest. I'm Yanfeng. I'm here. I'm Wuxia. I'm Lu Yang. I'm next to you now. I'm Qinlai. I'm here. I'm Nanqi. I'm Li Wei. I'm... Everyone declared themselves immediately after they gathered around Ganxing. Where's Carrie? Carrie, are you here? If you're here, then respond to us now. Nanqi suddenly exclaimed. Suddenly, everyone fell silent. Nanqi was the only one left still yelling. Carrie had held hands with them when they came over, so he should be nearby unless there was an accident. However, he was definitely missing right now. Everyone, remember my position and spread out a little. Call out and see if we can find Carrie. After hearing no response from Carrie whatsoever, Ganxing let out a solemn order. Qinlai nodded at his order and started traveling back to where he came from using his other senses. A few minutes later, Carrie! Carrie! Everyone shouted on top of their lungs while making sure that Ganxing was still behind them. Unfortunately, they never received any return call from Carrie. A shadow seemed to shroud over everyone's hearts. To think that one of us would go missing so soon after we came in. This is going to be a difficult trip. Wuxia sounded a little sorrowful. Captain Nanqi! Someone exclaimed. There's no need to worry too much, Levy. Carrie may still be nearby. Maybe he hasn't heard us because his position is slightly far away from ours. Nanqi said, We all came down here together. Maybe he's been thrown further away than us because he accidentally let slip his hand during the last moment. As long as we keep moving around this area, we should be able to find him pretty soon. Oh, I hope so, Levi answered. Everyone fell silent once more. I think we should prioritize finding something that gives light, or we won't even be able to walk properly. What do you all think? Ganxing asked. Everyone agreed with his sentiment. They started looking for a light source. Qinlai didn't answer him. After moving slightly further away from Ganxing and the others, he had quietly checked his soul connection with his soul servants and the soul beast avatar. Curtis, Miaofengtian, Shueli, and other soul servants who should be able to link up to him with their souls despite being at Extreme Flame Abyss, Balyo Realm, Spirit Realm, and other regions were completely gone from his senses. This place had cut off his soul connection with his soul servants. However, there was still a weak connection between him and his soul beast avatar. Unfortunately, the connection was so unstable that it was unlikely that he could conjure even a star door. This meant that he wouldn't be able to rely on the soul servants and soul beast avatar inside this unknown world of absolute darkness. Spirits of void and chaos. An idea entered his mind. A wisp of his soul consciousness entered the soul-suppressing orb and arrived at the spatial level where the 6 miraculous spirits of void and chaos resided. The spirits had instantly responded to his visit. They let him know that they and the soul-suppressing orb were still usable. He then pressed a hand to the silver moon imprint on his shoulder. I'm here, Master. You seem to be in a very mysterious place. The artifact soul Yi spoke in his head. I can't sense anything even though I'm right here. It's like a space of pure nothing. There isn't even light here. Have you ever heard of such a place? Qinlai asked. No. Not even the dark shadow world where the shadow beings reside is made up of pure darkness. Dark shadow world is an incredibly dark place, but it's still possible to see and perceive the things around you with your soul. They're just like how it is in darkness abyss. Yi fell silent for a moment. He seemed to be examining his surroundings through his own methods. A while later, he spoke up again. This place is different though. In my perception, the space we're in is in absolute darkness. I cannot sense anything except you, Master. I've never heard of such a place, let alone been to one. Ah! Suddenly, a terrible cry rang from far, far away. It sounded as blood-curdling as it actually was. It's Carrie's voice. Levi screamed. It can be a trap. Yan Feng spoke up suddenly. Nan Qi's breathing immediately turned short. He yelled, Ganxing, you're our captain. Please give us an order. Everyone gather up and head towards the direction of that voice. Carrie is one of us, and we must try and save him. Ganxing immediately made up his mind. Let's go. Nan Qi urged everyone. Not far away, Qinlai temporarily paused his conversation with Yi and moved next to Ganxing as well. Wah! The blood-curdling scream hadn't stopped immediately. It was still going on loud and clear. Everyone kept reporting their names as they moved swiftly towards the source of the scream. However, Carrie's scream suddenly cut off after a short while. Is he dead? Levi asked shakily amidst the darkness. He's just nearby. Let's get there first before we make up our minds. I must know who or what killed him even if he's dead. Nan Qi roared. Let's go. Ganxing also urged them in an angry tone. Qinlai didn't say anything in response. He followed closely behind them while listening to their voices. A dim yellow light appeared in front of them and caused Qinlai and the others to wake up. This was the first light source they'd seen since entering that place. The direction of the cracking sound was coincidentally where the light source was. When they arrived, they already saw dark shadows coiled there. The dark shadow seemed to be Carrie. Carrie! Levi shouted, and immediately activated his bloodline power. He sped past Qinlai, Nan Qi and the others. Careful! Nan Qi warned urgently. Qinlai suddenly stopped in his flight, his eyes rapidly landing on that area of light. Crack! Crack! When they came close, weak sound of bones cracking came from that huddling group of shadows. That sound seemed to be something chewing bones. Poof! Suddenly, the shadow which seemed to be Carrie exploded. In the dim yellow light, Qianlai could see bloody spraying, and then fist-sized pitch-black insects fly out. Demon armor insects. Qianlai couldn't control himself from screaming. The things flying out of the exploding shadow were almost the same as the demon armor insects he had once seen. The demon armor insects were strange insects native to Nether Realm. They could consume the spirit energy of the world and turn it into nether demonic energy. And nether demonic energy, according to Qianlai's present understanding, was nothing other than diluted abyss devil energy. At this time, the demon armor insects which flew out of the exploding shadows were pitch black, their small eyes and claws flashing with vicious light. They looked like bloodthirsty savage beings. They were slightly different compared to the demon armor insects he knew. The demon armor insects of Nether Realm were not this savage and bloodthirsty, and not so hungry for flesh. Most of the time, they consumed world spirit energy. They cleansed nature spirit energy to turn into nether demonic energy they could absorb and cultivate with. And in this dark, unknown land, these demon armor insects clearly had burrowed into Carrie, and were consuming Carrie's flesh and bones. Carrie did not die immediately. He watched as his body was being slowly consumed by these demon armor insects. That was why he had given such hair-raising screams. Die! When Levi came close, he realized that the demon armor insects had eaten Carrie and went berserk. In the dim light, Qianlai saw Levi release the Fire Soul latent ability, his body releasing flames that formed a lion. That wildfire soul burned with fierce flames that drowned that area. Snap! Snap! The demon armor insects were immediately drowned by the sea of fire. The fire soul roared and released all its power. When Qianlai, Ganxing, and the others arrived, they found that the demon armor insects which had killed Carrie were burned to death by Levi's fire soul. Carrie had died when his body exploded. That source of light! Wuxia ignored Nanqi and the others who were in their grief. With a soft exclamation, she slowly went close to the source of light. It was a prism-shaped stone the size of a face basin. From the irregular cracks along the border, this piece should be one that had exploded. It should belong to a larger piece. Carrie may have been attracted by the light source here. He came from another direction and was ambushed by the demon armor insects. Nanqi, come here and look at the stone first, Wuxia said. At this time, Qianlai and Lu Yang had arrived. Qianlai looked around using the light of the stone. He found there was nothing else around in the surroundings. The place they were at should be a desolate wilderness. Due to the special environment, they couldn't see a thing. Nanqi came over with a dark expression. Bending down, he observed that rock. He shook his head and said, I do not know these shining rocks. In the records of our god race, there does not seem to be any information on this kind of stone. Strange, Ganxing said. I do not know the stone, but the demon armor insects should not be from this place. Nanqi snorted with a dark expression. Many abyss levels have vicious demon armor insects like this. Some high-rank devils have a preference towards these vicious insects, and like rearing them. You mean, Ganxing said. Those demon armor insects who killed Carrie should have belonged to a high-rank abyss devil that is either nearby or used the insects remotely as additional pairs of eyes to investigate. Nanqi evaluated. Ganxing had a serious expression. The demon armor insects are dead. Those abyss devils, will they come soon? It should be the case. Nanqi snorted. Everyone, spread apart and prepare to fight, Ganxing ordered. Should we put away this strange stone? Wuxia inquired. No need. We will stay further away from this stone and wait for the enemies to arrive, Ganxing said. Understood. The group spread out, far away from the glowing stone to make advantage of the darkness. In that place, they didn't need to hold their breath or hide their soul presence. As long as they were in the darkness and did not make a sound, they were concealed very well. Everyone waited silently. About an hour later, 3 dim yellow light sources slowly floated from the distance and slowly came close. In the darkness, Qianlai saw the 3 moving sources of light. He immediately realized people used those stones as lanterns to travel through the absolute darkness. Over there, The demon armor insects I released died beside that dark light stone. From the direction of the 3 light sources came a deep voice. He spoke in the language of the abyss. Did you not say the demon armor insects ate the prey they had found already? Why did the demon armor insects all die? Another person asked. How do I know? Everyone be careful. We may encounter others from different levels, or the damned god race. Yes, those high-rank abyss devils held the so-called dark light stone. As they talked and walked closer, hidden in the darkness, flash of realization struck Xianxia. These high-rank abyss devils clearly knew that the dark light stone were important items in this realm of absolute darkness. They released large numbers of demon armor insects to search for this so-called dark light stone. Some of the demon armor insects came here and found the dark light stone, just like Carrie. Carrie may have not even gotten to the dark light stone before he was attacked by the demon armor insects at the stone waiting for their master. That's where he died. Then, upon the death of the insects, their master hurriedly came. Hidden in the darkness, Xianxia observed the newcomers. The high-rank abyss devils silently discussed under the dim light of the 3 pieces of dark light stone. Little did the Xianxia's group know, there were other shadows lurking behind them. There were more than those 3 abyss devils that had come. The abyss devils with the pieces of dark light stone didn't talk to the other group for whatever reason. As they talked in low voices, they slowly came close, strangely calm. Seeing the abyss devils grow closer to the dark light stone, Xianxia secretly activated his bloodline power and waited for Ganxing's order before charging down. ZZZT. Suddenly, a soft sound came from behind him. He suddenly turned his head back. In the absolute darkness, he smelled a noxious odor. This was a presence only certain poisonous insects would have. He. The high-rank abyss devils who had come later suddenly stopped and gave scornful laughs. So naive. A dark voice came from behind a piece of dark light stone and showed a handsome and eerie masculine face. That was a rank 7 bloodline high-rank abyss devil. He had long pointed ears, and his silvery gray eyes flashed with dark purple lightning. There were wisps of purple patterns on his forehead and his neck. Those mysterious crisscrossing patterns had clear power vibrations. You think you can hide here and attack us? He. You are too careless. This high-rank abyss devil waved his hand and a piece of dark light stone floated up. Whoosh! The dark light stone floated up and quickly flew in the direction that Ganxing was. It immediately shone on Ganxing, Yanfeng, and the others. Almost at the same time, the other 2 high-rank abyss devils with dark light stones threw them out. The 2 pieces of dark light stones also exposed where Nanqi and his group, Wuxia and Luyang, were hiding. Xianxia could see Ganxing, Nanqi, Wuxia, and the others, and also the large numbers of demon armor insects around them. The demon armor insects and other unknown insects looked as if they were eager to consume them. The high-rank abyss devils who had been illuminated by the dark light stone immediately fell into the darkness. Xianxia could imagine that the high-rank abyss devils were using the darkness as a cover for their charge towards Ganxing, Nanqi, and the others. Suddenly, the hunters in the dark and the prey in the light switched places. The 3 dark light stone that had illuminated the high-rank abyss devils hung over everyone's heads like bright lamps, and showed the targets for the high-rank abyss devils and the demon armor insects. At this time, Xianxia realized that the odor he smelled should be the demon armor insects. When the high-rank abyss devils came, they'd already released the demon armor insects which silently surrounded him. However, there were only 3 dark light stones. While the demon armor insects were locked onto him, he was not immediately attacked like Ganxing and the others. Darkness clearly affected the demon armor insects. When not illuminated by the dark light stone, the demon armor insects could not confirm the location of their targets. Wheels in Xianxia's began to turn. He realized that Ganxing, Nanqi, and the others who had been hiding became targets and were in grave danger. The demon armor insects and the high-rank abyss devils would not let this opportunity slip by. They would kill them. Ganxing and the others could not confirm the location of the attackers immediately and counterattack. The situation was disadvantageous to them. Flame World. Ring of the Burning Sun. Xianxia instantly activated his bloodline latent ability and secret art. He formed flame world with himself as the center. 3 spinning wheels made out of bloodline power spun around him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. ZZZT, ZZT, ZZT. Hiss, hiss. The flame rings immediately collided with the demon armor insects in the darkness. As the flames roared, he could hear the pained cries of the insects. With the 3 rings of the burning sun opening the way, he manipulated flame world to go towards Lu Yang. Heavenly blood web. He released a secret art from the blood codex and formed a web of blood. A tang of blood permeated the air, attracting the attention of the high-rank abyss devils in the darkness. The dark light stone is moving. Something is pulling the dark light stone. Qin Lai's presence. The 3 dark light stones hanging about Ganxing, Nanqi and Lu Yang were pulled by the threads of blood and thrown in other directions. The area illuminated by the dark light stones changed as well. An abyss devil that was snarling and holding a large white bone blade slashing towards Ganxing was suddenly exposed by the moving dark light stone. Swiftly and without delay, Ganxing and Yanfeng immediately responded with powerful attacks. Flowing shadow fire. Rays of flowing light like the shadow of flames suddenly floated out of Ganxing and Yanfeng's skulls. The rays of flames suddenly looked like another Ganxing and Yanfeng with terrifying bloodline power. Those fire shadows collided with the chest of the Abyss Devil coming down from the sky holding a white bone blade. The Abyss Devil, suddenly exposed by the dark light stone, was immediately penetrated by the rays of shadow fire. Poof! The Abyss Devil suddenly started to burn. Even his flesh and bones started to crack and snap. On the other side, near Nanqi, 2 Abyss Devils were exposed by a flying dark light stone. Fire Soul. Flame Lion. Bloodline's Secret Art. Ring of the Burning Sun. Bloodline's Secret Art. 8 Extreme Flaming Sun. Nanqi, Levi, and his fellows immediately shouted and responded with attacks of their own. Roaring lions, spinning wheels of fire, and 8 burning suns immediately hit the 2 exposed Abyss Devils. Boom! The 2 devils could not react in time before they were drowned by the flames. At this time, Qin Lai came out of the darkness beside Wuxia and Lu Yang. The flame world formed from his bloodline power suddenly covered Wuxia and Lu Yang. The 2 women immediately felt a sense of safety. That dark light stone which had originally been floating above the 2 women moved and exposed another Abyss Devil. You are moving the dark light stone. The Abyss Devil with the silver eyes glanced to Qin Lai. That's the leader, Lu Yang said in shock. PFFFF. The bloodlines wrapped around the dark light stone were suddenly cut by an invisible blade. The moving dark light stone immediately stilled. The dark light stone was between Qin Lai and the Abyss Devil's leader. Qin Lai could clearly see the Abyss Devil and vice versa. I miscalculated. I have not expected a mixed blood among you. The power I put on the dark light stone can only obstruct the Blaze family's bloodline power but not any other powers. The high-rank Abyss Devil with silver eyes and long ears looked coldly at Qin Lai in the dim light of the dark light stone. I really had not imagined the Blaze family would allow a mixed blood to enter. You should be special. As he spoke, he licked the corner of his lips, his eyes suddenly turning red. But you're delaying my feast. I will let you die a painful death. Feast. Wuxia and Lu Yang saw the bloody light in his eyes. They suddenly realized the feast the Abyss Devil spoke of was them, just like how Jie liked snacking on the fingers of high-rank female Abyss Devils. Many high-rank Abyss Devils also like to eat young, beautiful god race females. I am Vicente. I come from the Chaos Abyss. Has Hao Jie of the Bloodthirst family ever mentioned me to you? The handsome Abyss Devil with silver-gray eyes licked his red lips as he said, Hao Jie and I have similar interests. His gaze landed on Wuxia and Lu Yang's elegant necks, his eyes showing greed and lust. Under his gaze, Wuxia and Lu Yang felt a wave of cold and hopelessness. However, I will first kill this mixed blood and then enjoy you slowly, Vicente said. Whoosh! The dark light stone which had originally been between him and Qin Lai suddenly moved again to float above Lu Yang and Wuxia's heads. This time, the surface of the dark light stone shone with light purple light like lightning bolts that jumped and sparked. Crack! The sound of lightning streaking came from Vicente's location. Because of the Darklight Stone's movement, that area was once again pitch black. Vicente had disappeared from sight. Careful! Qianlai shouted. The moment the Darklight Stone hung above his head, the flame world he made out of bloodline power was attacked dozens of times by the wild purple lightning. Snap, snap, snap. The crimson-red flame world's outer shield sparked under the barrage of the purple lightning. The flickering purple lightning gave off soul vibrations which amplified their feeling of despair. The vibrations only grew stronger as time went on. The flame world Qianlai had formed using bloodline power could block the invasion of the purple lightning but not the spread of the despair-filled soul ripple. Oh! Wuxia and Lu Yang suddenly exclaimed lowly. The lively fighting spirit in their eyes seemed to be slowly corroded. Their eyes gradually showed despair and helplessness as though they'd already given up on this fight. Even he felt endless despair rising against him like an ocean, threatening to drown him. Flame World was not affected at all by the endless despair. ZZT, ZZT. ZZT, ZZT. Inside Qianlai's mind, bolts of lightning roamed like dragons. The power of the heavenly thunder eradication furiously cleansed his soul. But that feeling of endless despair still spread through his entire body as it had rooted itself in his bloodline and bones, unable to be removed. Mixed blood, you are interesting. You know how to use lightning. Pity. My despair power is a secret bloodline art. This is an emotion that drowns the mind and not a soul power. In the darkness, Vicente laughed mockingly. Thunder and lightning can destroy the soul, but cannot destroy the emotions and desires of high-level beings. Despair is only a kind of emotion. What use it your thunder and lightning power? As he spoke, even more extreme despair spread into Qianlai's bones. Qianlai could not muster one thread of fighting spirit and even wanted to kill himself. He wanted to use death to avoid worse consequences. Without knowing it, Vicente's bloodline's secret art had corroded Qianlai's mind and soul, rooting itself in Qianlai's body like a tree of death. As more extreme despair surged, without Vicente needing to act, Qianlai would deal with himself. On the other side, Wuxia and Lu Yang, who were also in Qianlai's flame world, were enduring the wave of despair power. The high-rank Abyss Devil, whose bloodline was related to despair, did not put as much power on them as he did on Qianlai. Therefore, they had no thoughts of dying. However, under the influence of the terrifying despair, they could only watch Qianlai, unable to move. Die, death is your final destination. Only death can release you from the torment. Vicente's voice came in snatches, urging on as Qianlai raised his hand. That hand slowly landed towards his own neck. Hiding in the darkness, Vicente appeared, seeing victory in his grasp. He stood outside Qianlai's flame world. This high-rank Abyss Devil, who only had a rank 7 bloodline, came from the Chaos Realm. His presence of despair was a monster that could draw away the hope in all beings. Qianlai. This person is the descendant of the Despair Devil King of the Chaos Abyss. The Despair Devil King is the second great lord of the Chaos Abyss. He has a despair-related latent ability, and he can unknowingly put a Despair Devil seed into the bodies of his opponents. If you can find that Despair Devil seed and burn it away, you can free yourself from the despair consuming your mind. In the distance, Ganxing, who was burning a high-rank Abyss Devil into ashes, suddenly shouted. In the next moment, 3 high-rank Abyss Devils surrounded him and Yen Feng. Take care of yourself first. A high-rank Abyss Devil snorted. A descendant of the Despair Devil King. A Despair Devil seed in the body. Lightning flashed through his mind. A section of memory belonging to the soul beast surfaced. A seed. Qianlai's soul and consciousness turned into a net that went down from the top of his head. Everywhere the net passed, his blood vessels, meridians, bones, they were all reflected in his mind. When the net landed on his chest, he found a rice-sized purple mark on his second heart. That purple mark was a miniaturized seed. Despair Devil Seed. Bursts of inextinguishable flame came from the second heart and immediately drowned the heart. Under the flames of the Blaze family, the purple mark was burned to ash. The despair that drowned his mind immediately disappeared. Qin Lai's hand, which had been heading to his neck, slowly fell down. Flame and blue lightning appeared in his eyes. Zzzt, zzzt, zzzt. Rays of blue lightning shot out of his eyes and wrapped around Wuxia and Lu Yang. At this time, Wuxia and Lu Yang, who could not move, felt soft hands moving around their bodies. Soon later, the hands seemed to enter their bodies. This gave them strange feelings. The two showed hints of embarrassment. Found it. At this moment, Qin Lai snickered and hurriedly said, "ZZT, ZZZT." Bursts of pain came from their stomach and the bottom of their feet. The despair drowning them disappeared after the pain. They immediately recovered the ability to move. What? He was able to destroy the devil seed and also help others. In front of Flame World, Vicente, who came from the Chaos Abyss and was a descendant of the Despair Devil King, finally showed signs of shock. Despair Devil King. Despair Devil Seed. A section of memory belonging to the Soul Beast avatar appeared from Qin Lai's soul. He immediately had a clear understanding of the Chaos Abyss and its Despair Devil King. The level the Bloodthirst family had invaded was a cruel and bloody abyss level. The Abyss Devil energy there was filled with more bloodthirst than other places. According to the Soul Beast's understanding, the Chaos Abyss was coincidentally the 100th level of the Abyss. Going deeper down were the bottom 8 levels, also called the Abyss Purgatories. Maybe due to this, the Abyss Devil energy of that level was extremely wild and caused the level to be in an even wilder state of slaughter. The devils who could survive in the Chaos Abyss were usually extremely cruel and bloody. A powerful devil called Despair Devil King was a great lord of the Abyss that had managed to kill his way to a rank 10 bloodline. He was ranked second among the 5 great lords of the Chaos Abyss. He was only inferior to the Terror Devil King. Vicente was his descendant and also possessed the core bloodline latent ability to control people's despair. Heading Gan Xing's reminder, Qin Lai managed to pull out the information on the Chaos Abyss and the Despair Devil King from his memories. He now had a deep understanding of Vicente's bloodline secrets. Each of the Despair Devil seeds you create will use up a great amount of bloodline power. After I have destroyed 3 of your Despair Devil seeds, you should be wounded. Qin Lai slowly walked inside Flame World until he was in front of Vicente. Through the dark red flame boundary, Qin Lai snickered. He said, "The Despair Devil seeds you release can absorb the despair your enemies feel before dying. That way, the Despair Devil seeds return with more power and make you stronger. Then, you are able to accumulate it and use even more of that despair power. Am I right?" He looked coldly at Vicente. How do you know? Even Hao Jie and the old men of the Bloodthirst family do not know of this. Vicente shouted darkly. The devil seed of the Despair Devil King could bring beings to the edge of despair and death. Each person, before they died, would give off a great amount of despair that would be absorbed by the devil seed. The devil seed, after absorbing the despair power, would contain even stronger power. They would root in the bodies of those even stronger, and cause even stronger people to die. Whenever a being died, the devil seeds would absorb more despair power, and grow even more terrifying. The despair devil seeds that formed in battle could use this method to accumulate despair power. This never-ending cycle of despair and strengthening was how Vicente grew stronger and stronger. Through this method, through the devil seeds with accumulated despair, Vicente had even killed a rank 8 bloodthirst family expert. If he had time, and if the 3 devil seeds absorbed power from Qin Lai, Wuxia, and Lu Yang, the 3 devil seeds would grow strong, and he could use them to easily defeat Nanqi and the others. This way, he could easily defeat everyone from the Blaze family. The despair devil seeds would grow stronger with each person they successfully killed. However, if the devil seed he created using bloodline power could not kill even the first enemy, and was destroyed without absorbing any despair power, Vicente, as the source of their power, would be injured by this. This was the greatest weakness of the despair devil seed. But this weakness was rarely known among the powerful devils of the Chaos Abyss. How did Qin Lai know? You do not need know how I know, you have no time to think. Qin Lai chuckled. Fire soul. Fire formation. Wuxia and Lu Yong suddenly shouted and released their bloodline power from within Flame World. A vermilion bird and a formation flew out of Flame World towards Vicente. Vicente, who was going to ask again, had no time to talk and hurriedly hid himself in the darkness. Qinlai looked towards the dark light stone. He realized that in this strange realm inside the darkness abyss, one had to rely on those strange stones that could illuminate even this absolute darkness. When one could not see with the eyes nor with their soul in this mysterious space. Once the enemy was hidden in the darkness, there was no target to attack. Unless the enemy attacked and made a sound, they could not be found. If the enemy wanted to flee in the darkness, they could not be traced. At that moment, Vicente hid back in the darkness. Wu Sha and Lu Yang's attacks suddenly lost their target. But because that piece of darklight stone was hanging above their heads, Vicente could easily attack them from the darkness. The enemy was in the shadow, but they were in light. The situation was disadvantageous to them, and they would have a hard time defeating Vicente. We must move the darklight stone. Qinlai focused on that strange stone giving off dim yellow light. He controlled Flame World and slowly floated up. Surrounded by Flame World's domain, he flew into the sky. Whoosh! Strangely, that darklight stone hurriedly flew into the air seeing him float up. That darklight stone continued to maintain a set distance from him. The light from the darklight stone coincidentally shone on him constantly, so he was always within Vicente's sight. Blitz Thunder Escape. He was forced to leave Flame World, and used Heavenly Thunder Eradication to teleport. Whoosh! An arc of blue lightning flashed out of nowhere. He appeared next to that darklight stone. He suddenly grabbed towards that darklight stone. Crack! Ryup! Bolts of purple lightning formed a tight net that appeared abruptly around the darklight stone. The purple lighting formed a strange flower that released shocking lighting power. Qinlai's hand which touched the darklight stone was immediately tangled in the purple lightning. The purple lightning wrapped around his arm like strong vines. ZZT. It continued to spread from his arm towards his neck. Half of his body, his face, and head were soon covered. He immediately felt numb. My father is the Despair Devil King, and my mother is a rank 9 Lightning Devil. Mixed blood, the bloodlines of our race are almost all mixed. But we are different from you. When the Abyss Devils mix blood, many of us keep both of our parents' bloodline powers, Vicente said as he slowly appeared behind Qinlai. His slender hand stabbed towards Qinlai's back. The heart was not just the weakness of the Abyss Devils, but also a fatal point for all races cultivating bloodline power. This time, his target was Qinlai's heart. Qinlai! Wu Sha and Lu Yong shouted urgently from Flame World. After defeating this guy, I will enjoy you. Do not be in a hurry. Vicente laughed darkly. His hand stabbed out. Crack, crack, crack. Rays of terrifying lightning shot out of his fingertips. Boom! Suddenly, an ear-deafening roar of thunder exploded out of Qinlai's body. All of the purple lightning wrapped around Qinlai immediately burst into thousands of pieces. Qinlai, who had originally been standing with his back to Vicente, turned around, a blood dragon roaring between his hands. The dragon immediately lunged at Vicente's chest. The Abyss Devil was thrown back into the darkness by the blood dragon formed out of blood spirit energy. Your Highness Vicente, are you all right? The high-rank Abyss Devil shouted, appearing extremely scared. I am seriously injured. Let's go. Retreat first, Vicente shouted. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The high-rank Abyss Devils that had accompanied him there disappeared into the darkness. The 2 darklight stones suddenly lost their light. Qinlai and the others listened intently but did not hear the sounds of their departure or the direction they fled in. They left. Ganxing used bloodline power to manipulate a darklight stone and flew over with Yanfeng. Nanqi and his brothers also came out of the darkness. Soon after, the entire team quickly gathered around Qinlai. At that time, Qinlai used a bolt of blue lightning to wrap around another darklight stone. He released Flame World and landed. The bloodline of a lightning devil. He smirked inside. The attack from the lightning power Vicente had added to the Darklight Stone had not actually harmed him. From his childhood, he had cultivated heavenly thunder eradication at Herb Mountain. He used the weakened heavenly lightning to cleanse his body and refine his meridians. As his cultivation increased, as his body grew stronger, his body was tempered to become the heavenly thunder sacred body. From the start, he cultivated using heavenly thunder eradication as his main spirit art. His body's tolerance to thunder and lightning power surpassed Vicente's imagination. Vicente trying to injure him using lightning power of his lightning devil bloodline was simply being delusional. The only possible result was for Vicente to suffer a loss. Break! The Darklight Stone rumbled. The lightning and thunder power Vicente had put on it destroyed. Then, it floated into the sky, supported by bolts of blue lightning. "Is everyone all right?" asked Xianxia, looking at the group. The group assembled. They had wounds on their chests, shoulders, and abdomen. However, none of them had died. "Xianxia, what about you? Are you all right? I saw that devil stab you in the back. Are you injured?" Lu Yang said with concern. "I am fine." Xianxia smiled. Ganxing had captured and brought over another Darklight Stone. Vicente's Darklight Stone was in Xianxia's hands and floated above them. The two Darklight Stones were like a fireplace that illuminated everyone. Xianxia examined Ganxing, Nanqi, and the others. He found that, in this period of time, the wounds on their chests and shoulders were slowly scabbing over. He immediately realized that they were using the recovery latent ability of their bloodline to quickly heal and recover combat prowess. This rapid bloodline healing power was something only a rare few high-level bloodlines had. The human race was far inferior. 5 high-rank Abyss Devils died, but they were in the darkness. The corpses were taken away. Nanqi had a dark expression. As he spoke, he took out smoked meat to share from his spatial ring. The weight of Xianxia's portion was clearly heavier. At this time, Ganxing, Yanfeng, Lu Yang, and the others, as well as Nanqi's group, looked over. Everyone showed friendliness. "I have to say, this time, it is all thanks to Xianxia." Nanqi had a serious expression. "When those Darklight Stones shined on us, we all tried using bloodline power to move them. I do not know what method they used, but once our bloodline power neared those Darklight Stones, it seemed to dissipate. Fortunately, you moved them and caused the devils attacking us to be exposed. Otherwise..." Nanqi shook his head gravely. "He's right," Levi said. "With the enemy in the shadows and us in the open, we were at too much of a disadvantage. Also, in this secret realm of absolute darkness, the Darklight Stone which can shine is a treasure." Everyone agreed. Xianxia smiled and took the pieces of meat. As he ate, he said, "I think we should cover the light of the Darklight Stones when recovering to avoid being discovered." "Logical," Ganxing agreed. "Take care of this Darklight Stone." Xianxia handed the Darklight Stone he took from Vicente to Nanqi and then sat down silently. Spirit stones floated out of his hands as he used the meat to recover bloodline power and the spirit stones to recover spirit energy. Ganxing and Nanqi quickly covered the light of the two Darklight Stones. The area sank back into darkness. The team of 9 people silently ate to recover bloodline power. Xianxia was not an exception. In the absolute darkness, the movement of time appeared slow and hard to pass. Xianxia, who had not been seriously injured, quickly recovered. Strange secret realm always shrouded in the darkness. What is so special about this place? He thought idly. He sent out his soul consciousness to roam aimlessly. Closing his eyes, his soul consciousness threads seemed to move in a dark ocean, unable to feel any presences, even though there were rank 7 bloodline warriors of the Blaze family around him. Such a short distance, and my soul consciousness cannot feel any signs of life. So strange, he thought. Seeing his soul consciousness was of no use in there, he retracted it. Let's see the situation of the spirits of void and chaos. His soul consciousness flooded back, turning into a ray of light that flew into the soul-suppressing orb. The first level, the second level, the third, finally the fourth. The ray turned into a ball. Qin Lai appeared blurrily in the fourth level of the soul-suppressing orb. In the endless space, there were no sun and stars, just like the secret realm he was in, only gentle light. Enormous bubbles floated in the strange space. The six spirits of void and chaos, and the remains of the cursed progenitor were inside the glowing bubbles. This place was similar to a chaos blood realm. Last time, when Qin Lai came here, his soul shadow entered one of the bubbles. Inside had been a complex and powerful high-level ancient diagram. That mysterious and complicated high-grade ancient diagram seemed to be the direct manifestation of the laws of the universe. With Qin Lai's comprehension and soul strength, he left helplessly after a while. It seemed that his understanding and his soul were not strong enough to support comprehension of the high-grade ancient diagram. He felt that this time should be the same, because, compared to the last time, he had not dramatically changed nor grown stronger. Yet this time, for some unknown reason, when he tried to enter that bubble and saw the millions of threads filling this entire space, he suddenly felt something unusual. This bubble space seemed to be suddenly permeated by the absolute darkness secret realm around him. The space inside the bubble turned black, but those millions of mysterious threads of light still shone. His soul shadow suddenly felt much more intelligent. The high-grade ancient diagram made from threads of light did not seem so cryptic and hard to understand. In his eyes, these slender lines of light sometimes looked like blood vessels, sometimes like patterns on leaves, and sometimes looked like lightning in the skies. All these images were filled with secrets. He observed intently for a while, and then saw that the complicated ancient diagram that filled the entire space seemed to be composed of layers of basic and middle-grade diagrams. Suddenly, he seemed to find a spark of inspiration on the path to understanding that high-grade ancient diagram. Time seemed to stop in this moment. Only his soul energy seemed to be quickly consumed. Whoosh! When he suddenly felt the tiredness of his soul shadow fell back from the soul-suppressing orb to his mind. In the darkness, his body shook. Qin Lai, have you recovered? We have waited a long time for you, Lu Yang suddenly said. I'm fine, he answered. Ganxing and Nanqi finally released the light of the Darklight Stone and caused everyone to appear. How come you took so long? Ganxing asked casually. You used 12 whole hours, much slower than us. Maybe he was too tired, Lu Yang explained. Qin Lai did not immediately answer and thought back to his previous experience. When he looked at this strange darkness secret realm again, his eyes clearly changed. He gradually realized that this secret realm, which had existed for millions of years, contained unimaginable secrets. This place was of enormous help to understanding the high-grade ancient diagram in the fourth level of the soul-suppressing orb. In his perception, the high-grade ancient diagrams were no different than the actual laws of the universe. In other words, the speed of comprehending the laws of the universe was far better in that place. I think I know why the great lords of the abyss did all they could to send their descendants here. What do you mean, Qin Lai? Ganxing asked in puzzlement. A dark light stone floating above his head illuminated his confused expression. You're saying you figured out the secrets of this secret realm? Nanqi exclaimed. I haven't fully understood it yet, but I think I know what makes this place special, Qin Lai said. Everyone looked shocked by this. Tell us. Ganxing turned serious. Nanqi and his companions, Yanfeng, Wuxia, and Lu Yang suddenly fell silent. They were all staring at Qin Lai. If this was in the past, they would neither care nor treat Qin Lai's words seriously. However, after Qin Lai had forced back Vicente, won them 2 Darklight Stone and demonstrated an incredible amount of knowledge regarding the Despair Devil King of the Chaos Abyss, they realized that he really was different from others. That was why they treated Qin Lai a lot more seriously. They were starting to think of him as a critical person. I wasn't recovering my bloodline power or spirit energy earlier. Qin Lai paused for a moment. I was done recovering myself even before you all came here. Then what were you doing? Lu Yang couldn't help but ask. I was studying the spirit art I cultivate, and I discovered that this place, this secret realm of absolute darkness, is incredibly beneficial to the study of a power's true essence. He inhaled deeply before saying loudly, I know that your bloodline powers, secret arts, abilities, and so on are all manifestation of your strength. Now calm down and perceive the power inside your bloodline. Try and look at both familiar and unfamiliar bloodline abilities and see if it's different from before. It can aid us in our cultivation. It can help us study the truths of our strength. Yanfeng looked shocked. You're saying that anyone who cultivates here will improve faster? Wuxia also came to realization. Is it really that effective? Nanqi's eyes lit up. You can try it now. Qinlai smiled. The rank 7 Blaze family warriors once again sat down on the floor when they heard this. They slowed down their breaths and concentrated. Qinlai himself had sat down quietly after he was finished. He was trying to draw over some pure soul energy from the soul beast. Unfortunately, he discovered that the soul beast's soul power couldn't enter the secret realm, even though they could still exchange soul thoughts with each other. There seemed to exist a barrier that separated his main and avatar bodies in this strange space of absolute darkness. As a result, he couldn't draw on the soul beast's reserves and replenish his soul energy. So it doesn't work? After failing multiple attempts in a row, Qinlai ultimately chose to give up. I guess I just have to rely on some pills. Qinlai took out a bunch of pills that could replenish soul energy and stuffed them all into his mouth. First, he refined the pills with his own strength. After his soul energy had slowly become stronger, he created a wisp of pure consciousness and started perceiving the secrets of his bloodline. His blood boiled. He could sense Ganxing and Yanfeng's unique bloodline presences beside him. As members of the Blaze family, their bloodline power was eternally hot, violent, and destructive. He looked at his blood with his mind, and he could see many jumping Blaze divine characters. No, this isn't right. His consciousness jumped past the Blaze divine characters and went deeper into the blood itself. Boom! Countless dazzling red threads filled the interior of his veins. These unknown, irregular red threads changed constantly as if they had no permanent form because his blood was boiling. Suddenly, he felt a little lost inside his own bloodline. For a moment, he felt like he had returned to the fourth space of the soul-suppressing orb. These intersecting threads seemed to represent the most mysterious power of his Blaze family bloodline, a latent ability. It felt as if he could obtain a new bloodline ability if he managed to see through the secrets of these red threads. I get it now. Suddenly, he realized that the secrets of the Blaze family bloodline were imprinted in the blood of every Blaze family member. If they could figure out the secrets of their own bloodline, they could theoretically awaken new bloodline latent abilities again and again. It was likely that every bloodline latent ability that was available to a kin of the Blaze family had always been in their blood. However, they would have to discover the secrets of their bloodline and study it thoroughly if they wished to obtain more bloodline abilities and understand the strengths of the Blaze family bloodline. Only then, they would be able to activate the strength of their bloodline in full. It looks like I've still a ways to go. His soul consciousness roamed inside his own blood for a long time before he finally saw a clump of red threads that he recognized. As he stared at that constantly changing blood threads, he felt as if he could see the flame world coming to form right before his eyes. The changing red thread seemed to represent all of the secrets of flame world. He continued to roam inside his lava-hot blood. A while later, he saw the scarlet threads that represented recovery and ignition. I see. I can perceive all the awakened bloodline latent abilities in my blood with my soul consciousness in this strange secret realm. However, those that I've not awakened remain inconceivable to me. These red threads represent other bloodline latent abilities. If I can analyze the rest of these red threads in full, does that mean I can awaken other bloodline latent abilities? Can I awaken stronger bloodline latent abilities closer to the core at rank 7? Just how many known bloodline latent abilities are there in the Blaze family bloodline? And just how many of them remain unknown to this day? Qinlai's shock grew the longer he investigated his own blood. He wasn't the only one. Ganxing, Nanqi, Wuxia, Yanfeng, Luyang, and the others saw the same thing when they peeked at their boiling blood using the method he spoke of. They had all come to the same conclusion as him. A while later, the 9 Blaze family youngsters, including Qinlai, awakened from their slumber, while panting a little. They exchanged glances with each other. They could see the shock in each other's eyes. I never realized that our blood is hiding so many secrets, Nanqi said. I've never been able to see the talents and secrets of my own blood this clearly either, Ganxing exclaimed. Everyone's blood contains countless bloodline latent abilities. The reason we couldn't awaken them is because we aren't good enough to perceive or understand them. Yan Feng muttered while looking lost. Our bloodline is our biggest treasure. We just didn't have the key to unlock it in the past. Wuxia inhaled deeply as she stared at the infinite darkness surrounding her. She said in a quiet tone, "But this place? This is a place that can unlock the mysterious treasury that is our bloodline." Qin Lai is right. Now I understand why those great lords of the abyss wanted to send their descendants into this place so badly. So it seems. So it seems. Everyone's red eyes except Qin Lai's burned with deep passion. They had a lot of complaints when they were first sent to this place. However, everyone felt like crying a little right now, despite having to suffer the cold, stony ground beneath their feet and this impenetrable darkness. They were all grateful for the opportunity to come here. This place is probably an origin world. I didn't think that we'd have the fortune to visit such a mysterious and magical place. Ganxing suddenly said. Origin world? Nanqi sounded confused. Qin Lai was caught off guard by the term. Suddenly, a memory belonging to the soul beast exploded in his mind. The origin world. His eyes suddenly sparkled with lightning. You know about the origin world too? Ganxing looked at Qin Lai in surprise. Qin Lai nodded slightly. A little, yes. Ganxing and Qin Lai seemed to be the only two people out of all 9 bloodline warriors who knew about the origin world. Everyone else was clearly clueless. What is an origin world? Nanqi asked seriously. Yanfeng, Wuxia, and the others turned to Ganxing for answers. But Lu Yang turned to Qin Lai. My knowledge may not be complete, so we should let Ganxing explain first, Qin Lai said. Lu Yang turned her attention towards Ganxing. An origin world is a world that hasn't manifested its laws of the world or truths yet. Ganxing didn't decline. He started speaking of what he knew about the origin world. We know that there are 108 levels in the abyss, but back when it all began, it was said that the abyss was just a canvas of chaos with nothing in it. Inside this chaos, the most mysterious of explosions occurred and transformed the chaotic space into countless broken realms. All these broken shards of space were origin worlds at the very start of their creation. They contained no laws or living beings. An unknown period of time later, laws and truths slowly start to appear in these shards. As a result, the Abyss Devils were born. It'd take another unknown period of time for these shards to complete its evolution and manifest its unique laws in full. Finally, they became the Abyss levels we are now familiar with. One might say that all 108 levels of the Abyss are transformed from many broken shards of chaos. The place we're in right now is a broken shard that has remained unchanged to this day for some reason. At the very least, it hasn't dug into its potential and started developing the laws and energies an origin world should. Strange flames danced in Ganxing's eyes as he explained to the crowd. The origin world is a splinter of that ball of chaos many, many years ago, right? If given enough time, say a couple million years later, it may evolve into a whole new abyss level, right? Nanqi asked thoughtfully. Ganxing nodded slowly. Theoretically so. What's so strange about an origin world? Wuxia asked curiously. Ganxing thought for a moment before continuing. An origin world is a place where the laws of a world haven't taken shape yet. This means that it is much easier to penetrate into our bloodline and recognize its secrets and powers. In a fixed world, we wouldn't be able to perceive them as clearly because the laws of the world are interfering with our senses. He paused here and looked at Qin Lai. So what Qin Lai said earlier is correct. Here, we can cultivate and study the secrets of our bloodline much faster. Here, we can truly unveil the mysteries of our bloodlines and figure out the very first shape and form of all of our bloodline latent abilities. Everyone was smiling and feeling excited when they heard this. Is there anything else? Are there any other miraculous effects? Lu Yang prodded further. Ganxing frowned for a moment before he smiled and spread his arms helplessly. This is all I know about the origin world. If there's anything else, I'm not aware. Oh, Lu Yang looked disappointed. It was at this moment Nanqi looked at Qin Lai and asked, "Does your knowledge of the origin world match Ganxing's?" The crowd slowly focused their attention on Ganxing. Ganxing himself said seriously and sincerely, "You don't have to worry about my feelings or anything, Qin Lai. You can tell us anything you know. It will be beneficial to all of us if we can understand the origin world better while we're here." Qin Lai pondered for a moment before nodding. "What you said just now is correct. Is there anything else you'll like to add?" Ganxing asked. "Some, yes," Qin Lai answered. The group looked surprised for a second before they sat up primly and seriously. Before they knew it, Qin Lai's words were starting to weigh heavier and heavier in their minds. As Ganxing had said earlier, the origin world is definitely a new world that hasn't undergone its natural evolution yet. It is a lot more efficient and effective to cultivate and study the secrets of our bloodline here because we're able to perceive secrets that we normally cannot perceive anywhere else. Qin Lai thought carefully as he explained in a soft voice. However, that is not all an origin world is. If one of us can infuse their knowledge of the laws and their recognition of their own power into an origin world while it is still evolving, the origin world will shape itself to our will and manifest the natural laws that we know. When an origin world completes its evolution with that person's power at its foundation, this person, for having successfully imprinting their will and power into an origin world, will become its ruler. They can easily control all the natural laws and powers that exist in this world. In other words, they will have complete control over a whole new abyss level. Qin Lai said solemnly. The crowd fell silent completely. The only thing that could be heard and seen was their heavy breathing and shockingly bright eyes. "You mean that the person who successfully imprints their power and bloodline will become a great lord of the abyss? They'll become ruler of this abyss level?" Levi screamed. "The ruler of the 109th level of the abyss. Ha! The mere thought of it is exciting already." "No, that isn't all." Qin Lai shook his head. The crowd was caught by surprise yet again. "According to my knowledge, most of the great lords of the abyss have ascended to rank 10 through studying an abyss level and perceiving its core powers and laws after the abyss level had already been formed," Qin Lai said. "What do you mean?" Lu Yang was confused by his explanation. Qin Lai explained further. For example, Extreme Flame Abyss is an origin world that has completed its evolution. After everything has settled and taken, it started giving birth to abyss devils. Most of the abyss devils in Extreme Flame Abyss are flame demons who are used to its extremely hot climate. What I'm saying is that the great lords of Extreme Flame Abyss reached rank 10 after the origin world has taken shape. They cultivate by studying the flame laws of Extreme Flame Abyss, and their goal is to completely master the core laws of Extreme Flame Abyss and become its true ruler. They haven't succeeded yet, though. If Extreme Flame Abyss truly had come under their control, they would have sunk the entire level to the bottom and joined the 8 purgatories. Those so-called monarchs of the bottom 8 levels of the abyss purgatories, are great lords who have truly fused with their abyss level and mastered all of its core laws. Ganxing looked shocked. "So, if we can imprint our powers to this abyss level and take control of it before it takes form, we'll become the monarch of an entire abyss level when one day this origin world evolves. Is that what you're saying?" "That's the gist of it." Qin Lai nodded. "It sounds easy, but it's probably not as easy as it sounds. But those are the steps towards becoming ruler of an abyss level, right?" Ganxing asked again. "Amen." Qin Lai continued. "First, one must imprint their understanding of power to this origin world. Then, they must grow and evolve alongside it so they could spread their increasingly powerful laws throughout the entire origin world so it could evolve into a new abyss level a couple million years later. Of course, there are a lot of things that needs paying attention to. One misstep is all it takes for the person to crumble alongside this origin world. Long story short, this process is extremely difficult and luck-based. That being said, it's still much easier than fully mastering the core laws of a natural abyss levels over countless centuries like the monarchs of the bottom 8 levels had done. At any rate, There are only two possible ways to merge fully with an abyss level, just like the devil monarchs of the abyss purgatories. Either they study and master all of the core laws of an evolved abyss level, or they imprint their own powers onto an origin world like this one. This is so that it evolves towards their intended direction and grow alongside it for several million years. These are the only two ways to control an abyss level completely and become a so-called devil monarch. Combat strength-wise, a devil monarch is a rank 10 great lord of the abyss. There are only 8 devil monarchs in total in the entire abyss. They are the true rulers of abyss purgatories. Each devil monarch rules over an abyss level. They are the strongest great lords of the abyss. Qianlai didn't hide anything he knew about the origin world. He told everything to his comrades in detail. Ganxing, Nanqi, and the others fell silent for a very long time after he was done. "How do you know so much?" Lu Yang asked in surprise. Wuxia was looking at him in surprise too. "I thought the spirit realm you're in isn't connected to the abyss. Is it?" Even Yen Feng and Levi were looking at him strangely. Qianlai smiled faintly under their doubtful gazes. "I have my ways. As for how I came to learn about the secrets of the abyss, well, I don't want to lie to you all, so I would like it if your question stopped here. Is that fine? Then I won't ask." Lu Yang shrugged before smiling beautifully at him. "Anyway, if I manage to merge my soul's bloodline secrets into this origin world, I'll become a devil monarch of an abyss purgatory after it evolves into an abyss level, right?" "Theoretically speaking, yes." Qianlai smiled. "Then I wish to merge with this origin world," Lu Yang said expectantly. "Stop dreaming." Ganxing laughed. "We should focus on studying our bloodline secrets and hopefully awaken a bloodline ability or two while we're still in this origin world. That is what we can realistically hope for." "That's true. We may not be so lucky as to come by the opportunity to merge with this origin world. Not to mention that we don't even have a clue how to start." Nanqi also expressed his opinion. Qianlai said suddenly, "That's not necessarily true." "Oh." Surprised yet again, the group looked at him curiously. They wanted to know what other opinions they had to offer regarding the origin world and deepen their understanding of this strange secret realm. "You've heard of the origin world. Have you heard of the origin sea and origin crystal?" Qianlai looked at Ganxing. Ganxing frowned for a moment in thought before shaking his head. "I've never heard of them." Qianlai organized his thoughts before starting. "It is said that there exists an origin sea and a strange origin crystal in every origin world during its conception." "Tell us more," Nanqi said excitedly. "Do any of you sense the presence of a world's energy in this place?" Qianlai asked. No, Wuxia was the first to shake her head. "Our blood has the ability to absorb all the energy that exists in the air to recover our strength. Of course, it isn't as fast of a recovery process as consuming food that contains a big amount of refined flesh and blood energy, but it is still something. However, I couldn't sense any such energy in this place when I was recovering my bloodline power earlier. I couldn't sense any rich amount of abyss devil energy in this place either," Ganxing said. "It does seem like that there isn't any energy around us," Nanqi said. "It's not that energy doesn't exist in this place. It's that the energy of this origin world is all concentrated in the origin sea in liquid form," Qianlai explained seriously. "The origin sea will only evaporate when the origin world begins its evolution process. When that happens, the liquid energy that exists in the origin sea will evaporate and spread to every corner of this world." "You're saying that all of the energy in this place is concentrated in the origin sea right now?" Lu Yang exclaimed. Qianlai nodded affirmatively. "Heavens! Just how much energy is there in that sea?" Lu Yang looked shocked. "It'll probably amount to an entire abyss level's worth of abyss devil energy," Qianlai said. "Seriously?" Nanqi looked stunned. "There are 108 levels in the abyss, and every abyss level is filled with a near infinite amount of abyss devil energy. Does this origin world seriously contain so much energy?" Wuxia exclaimed in disbelief. "It is definitely a possibility." Qianlai smiled. "What about the origin crystal?" Ganxing asked curiously. It is a large, strange crystal that we can imprint the secrets and truths of our powers on. It is the object that gives you control over the origin world, Qianlai explained. Origin world, origin sea, origin crystal. Is it just me? Or does it sound a little similar to the soul arts of spirit realm? Nanqi looked confused. Qianlai fell silent for a moment before answering. Not at all. In fact, I thought the same as you. Nanqi was caught off guard. It is very possible that spirit realm's power system, soul cultivation arts, and manifestation of soul altars are in fact imitating an origin world's evolution process. In some ways, the way our Genesis realm cultivators came to are quite similar to the formation of an origin world. Qianlai said. While saying this, he entered his mind once more. His mind was also a blank space. In that place, there was a soul lake made up of pure soul energy, and a true soul that rested deep within it. The structure of his mind was definitely very similar to the origin world, the origin sea, and the origin crystal. His knowledge of the origin world had come from the soul beast avatar, or more accurately speaking, it was the memories of the soul progenitor. The human race of spirit realm had gradually learned the secrets of the soul under the guidance of the soul progenitor. That was how they came to develop the arts to cultivate one's soul and refine their soul altars. Now that he had connected the dots, that was the formation of an origin world and the cultivation of the human soul together, he figured that the human race's cultivation system had to be an imitation of the formation and evolution of the origin world. Even better, the final cultivation level of the human's cultivation system was called the Genesis realm. Their names alone, Genesis, origin, clearly indicated that they were connected to each other in some ways. This made him grow more and more thoughtful. Qianlai, you're saying that we can will this origin world into evolving as we wish as long as we can find this origin sea and imprint our knowledge of power onto the origin crystal, right? Ganxing exclaimed. More or less, yes. Qianlai answered. Then how can we find this origin sea? Nanqi asked urgently. About that, I have no idea myself. Qianlai smiled wryly. In this origin world, everything remained dark even if he were to extend his soul consciousness. Without the ability to perceive his surroundings with his soul, he wouldn't be able to detect any nearby energy. He might as well be blind. This meant that he couldn't rely on his soul consciousness to search for the origin sea. That was why he didn't know how to begin. We should focus on what we can do, such as studying the secrets of our bloodline. I believe, Wuxia said quietly. You're right. Ganxing let out a sigh. After that, Qianlai, Ganxing, and the others began roaming around aimlessly while perceiving the secrets of their bloodline with the use of 2 dark light stones. Time passed quickly. One day, when Qianlai entered the 4th level of the soul-suppressing orb again, the 5 spirits of void and chaos suddenly awakened, feeling his presence. The fire spirit aside, all 5 spirits of void and chaos that were wrapped inside a strange, crystalline bubble each transmitted their thoughts to him at the same time. He immediately knew that the 5 spirits of void and chaos were hungry. They had reached rank 6. Okay, I'll let you all out in a minute, Qianlai replied. His soul consciousness returned back to his mind. After informing Ganxing that he'd be taking a stroll for a bit, he left the group and walked until he was several hundred meters away from them. He released the 5 spirits of void and chaos and dropped a pile of spirit materials on the stony ground. The 5 spirits of void and chaos immediately plowed into their food. Do you know about the origin world? While the spirits were consuming spirit materials that matched their attributes, he summoned the artifact Soul Yuyi and threw him a careless question. Never heard of it, Yuyi answered. The Serene Moon race is just a minor race, and Dark Moon World exists in a remote location. There's only so much I know as the clan chief. Sorry. It's fine. He put away Moon Tier after that. A while later, the 5 spirits of void and chaos began roaming around happily after they were done consuming the spirit materials. This origin world was shrouded in absolute darkness. The spirits of void and chaos quickly vanished out of sight in no time. Ya! Suddenly, the wood spirit sent him a joyful soul message. Qianlai shook. Did you find something strange? The wood spirit returned another message. Qin Lai was stunned for a moment before he asked Two Wood Spirit to stay patient. Then, he stood up and yelled, "Everyone, come to me now!" Everyone stopped their cultivation and swiftly gathered around him the moment they heard his voice. Two dark light stones floated down Qin Lai's direction under Ganxing and Nan Qi's control. Qin Lai's hidden figure abruptly appeared before the group's eyes. "What's wrong?" Lu Yang asked after coming over. "I found something interesting. Just follow me," Qin Lai said. The soul connection he shared with the spirits of void and chaos meant that he could always pinpoint their location even in absolute darkness. He followed the spirits of void and chaos swiftly from behind. Ganxing and Nan Qi led their team members and followed closely behind Qin Lai as well. Qin Lai exclaimed in his mind. He learned through his connection that even the wood spirit, thunder spirit, and water spirit had gotten excited. Normally, a rank 6 spirit of void and chaos that had just had its fill would fall into slumber to digest the food it ate. But this time, they didn't hurry back inside the soul-suppressing orb at all. In fact, they were leading him down a certain direction. It was obvious that the spirits of void and chaos were not affected by the absolute darkness of this origin world. He, Ganxing, Nanqi, and the others could only see as far as a dozen or so meters away from them even with the light of 2 dark light stones. Anything beyond that remained completely dark. Since their vision was limited to a range of a dozen or so meters, there were very few meaningful things that they could do. But the spirits of void and chaos were obviously not like them. It had almost been an hour since they started moving, but the spirits of void and chaos still hadn't slowed down. This meant that their ability to perceive normal and unusual things was quite expansive. In fact, Qin Lai had a feeling that their power of perception was stronger here than when they were outside. Everyone's eyes and soul were blinded when they entered this place, but the spirits of void and chaos seemed to only have gotten stronger. Winged race clansmen. Suddenly, Ganxing exclaimed and stopped in his tracks. Qin Lai came back to himself and looked back towards the front. His expression had changed as well. A group of youngsters with white wings behind their backs laid dead on the ground, bloodied and mangled. He only needed a glance to identify these white-winged youngsters as part of the galaxy-renowned winged race. The winged race wasn't as powerful or reputable as the 4 transcendent races, but they were a powerful race. The 8 winged race clansmen lying on the ground looked like they had been shredded or chewed by some terrifying beasts. Their bodies were a terrifying sight to behold. Plenty of spirit artifacts were scattered next to their bodies as well. Among them was an emerald staff glowing with gentle green light and faint life aura. It would seem that the wood spirit had come for the emerald, gem-studded staff. By the time Qin Lai got a good look of the scene, he discovered that the wood spirit had entangled itself around the emerald staff in the form of a life tree. Traces of rich life force was converted into wood spirit energy and absorbed by the wood spirit. When Levi noticed the wood spirit and what it was doing, he hurriedly dashed towards it in an attempt to stop it. "Don't!" Qin Lai shouted. Levi turned back in confusion before yelling, "That thing is absorbing the staff's energy," Qin Lai said calmly. "It belongs to me." Levi was surprised by his answer. "What is that thing?" Ganxing moved closer curiously. "I don't know about you guys, but we call them the spirits of void and chaos. They are all in my care." Qin Lai gave them a quick explanation. "Also, the reason I noticed that something was amiss with this place wasn't because I was able to sense it myself. They were the ones who told me." Levi, Nanqi, and the others immediately grew a measure of respect and awe towards the spirits of void and chaos. Everyone here was forcefully blinded by the absolute darkness of this place. But it turned out that the spirits of void and chaos weren't affected by it at all. It made them curious. Seeing that they weren't going to attack the spirits of void and chaos anytime soon, Qin Lai walked towards the thunder spirit and water spirit this time. The thunder spirit, a miniature thunder crystal beast, was consuming several lightning jades strung around a dead corpse's waist. Those jades clearly contained a large amount of lightning and thunder. At another side, the water spirit was also extracting a jade from a winged race clansman's forehead and devouring it whole. The earth spirit and metal spirit floated around in search of their own targets. but they seem to be coming up short so far. There's a high-rank Abyss Devil's corpse here, Nanqi called out loudly. After making some simple exchanges with the spirits of void and chaos using his mind, Qin Lai walked next to Nanqi. A brawny high-rank Abyss Devil with shock haircut and sharp horns around his neck was lying on the ground, his chest penetrated by a sharp object. It looked like his blood had stopped flowing since some time ago. He's been dead for some time, Nanqi analyzed with a serious look. These winged race clansmen had probably run into a troop of high-rank Abyss Devils, and they were wiped out mercilessly by their opponents. From the marks on the battlefield and how spread out they were, I believe that both sides didn't have a Darklight Stone. That is why these items were left behind in this place. These high-rank Abyss Devils only lost one person, but the winged race clansmen were either killed here or fleeing from pursuit. Even though both sides didn't have a Darklight Stone, Ganxing said seriously. The winged race clansmen were inferior to the high-rank Abyss Devils to begin with, so it's natural that they would suffer a terrible defeat, Nanqi said indifferently. Qin Lai recalled his battle against Vicente Battle a while ago as he stared at the horribly mutilated corpses. His eyes became shrouded with gloom. Why are you looking like that? Lu Yong curled her lips before remarking disdainfully. These winged race clansmen are definitely weaker than us. Those high-rank Abyss Devils would have been the ones to die if they had run into us. It's suicide for powerless people to enter this place. Qin Lai's cheeks twitched unnaturally at the comment. Powerless people, huh? Bitterness filled his heart as Ling Yushi and Gao Yu suddenly entered his mind. Suddenly, his heart felt incredibly heavy. He had learned from the Soul Beast Avatar that Ling Yushi, Gao Yi, Ling Xianxia, and a couple of rank 7 Nether Realm Bloodline warriors had been sent into the secret realm by a devil monarch. Although Ling Yushi's bloodline had reached rank 7, Gao Yu and Ling Xuanxuan's combat strength were a lot weaker than hers. It was hard to tell if Nether Realm's rank 7 bloodline warriors were even stronger than their equals in the winged race. So what would happen to them if they ran into powerful Abyss Devils or the Bloodthirst family warriors led by Wuxia? The moment he thought of this possibility, fear suddenly joined the deep worry plaguing his mind. I hope that good luck is on your side. I hope that you all can run into me as soon as possible. He could only pray in his mind. You look terrible. What's going on? Lu Yang asked caringly. It's nothing. Qin Lai shook his head, but complicated emotions were starting to cloud his eyes. Ling Yushi and Ling Xianxia had purple hair, so they looked just like high-rank Abyss Devils. The Horned Demon race and Ghost Eye race shared the appearance of Abyss Devils as well. If his squad really were to run into Ling Yushi and the others, how on earth was he going to convince these God race clansmen to accept them as they were? Could he seriously convince them to help a bunch of weak high-rank Abyss Devils and treat them as companions? Would Ganxing and Nanqi accept such a thing? He felt a headache when he thought about this. Suddenly, this trip was looking a lot less appealing than it was before. Yeah. It was at this moment the Earth Spirit contacted him with its soul. It seemed to have discovered something. There's soul activity nearby, Qin Lai realized and pondered for a moment. Then he said, Everyone follow me. There's life not far away from here. Everyone gathered around him immediately. Guided by the Earth Spirit, the squad controlled the 2 Darklight Stones and sent them flying down the direction Qin Lai pointed. A few minutes later, a terribly wounded male and a female winged race clansman entered their vision. Both winged race clansmen were covered in bloody wounds from head to toe. They had probably been running for their lives the moment they saw the approaching Darklight Stones. Unfortunately for them, they were terribly wounded to begin with, and the Earth Spirit had their auras completely locked down. There was nothing they could do except watch as Qin Lai and the others got closer and closer. The God race! The 2 of them wailed in despair when they saw the burning flames around Nanqi beneath the Darklight Stone. The God race! The 2 winged race clansmen looked terrified and worried when they saw a burning Nanqi walking towards them. They had just gone through a bloodfest by the hands of a troop of Abyss Devils, and they were the only 2 surviving members of their group. It was all thanks to the environment that they were able to escape at all. They thought that the worst was behind them already. But now, A group of God Race clansmen wielding a couple of Darklight stones had their positions locked down. They immediately fell into despair. They're not high-rank abyss devils. Qin Lai suddenly felt remorse when he discovered that the Earth Spirit's targets were two survivors of the winged race. Maybe it was because Ling Yushi and her people had entered his mind earlier, but he didn't feel like fighting at all despite facing two heavily wounded winged race clansmen. The winged race? Nanqi laughed strangely before dashing towards them. The Blaze family squad instantly surrounded the two winged race clansmen. How dare you enter this secret realm? What makes the likes of you think you can survive this place? What a joke! Levi snorted coldly. We. The handsome male winged race clansman mumbled timidly while looking heartbroken. We weren't planning to engage anyone in conflict. We had only come here to study the secrets of our bloodline and cultivate. The beautiful female winged clansman kept her head bowed, afraid to meet anyone's eyes. While sobbing quietly, she asked, "Can you please let us go? We can give you anything if you let us live." She was already taking off her spatial ring when she said this. Her clean, white wings were drenched in her own blood. The fabric covering her chest was tattered and revealing, and her pitiful appearance only made her look even more appealing. "You want to live, huh?" Levi rubbed his chin while staring at her sinisterly. His gaze paused at her milk-colored breasts before he chuckled softly to himself. The two members behind Nanqi were growing eager as well. Even Yan Feng's eyes was burning with lust. Wuxia and Lu Yong frowned and snorted when they saw Levi and Yan Feng's appearances. They turned their heads away from the scene. They seemed to be aware what was going to happen next. Terrible dangers accompanied them every time they went on a hunt. Dangers not even the God race were immune to. In fact, they would have taken a huge loss in Vicente's hands not long ago if Qin Lai hadn't shifted the Darklight stones. They might have died right there and then. Everyone's nerves were taut under such terrible pressure. Everyone was wrapped up in invisible, dangerous emotions. Those with good self-control might be able to fare better in such an environment, but those with poor self-control could easily fly off the handle at any moment. Yan Feng, Levi, and a few God race clansmen had average self-control. They normally chose to enjoy themselves and vent their negative emotions whenever they encountered beautiful, female high-rank abyss devils. Once they were done, they would grow calm and quiet for a while. Wuxia and Lu Yong were aware of their needs. They were also aware that a suitable amount of venting was beneficial to the squad's unity, and a good way to keep Yan Feng and Levi in check. They might not agree with what these people were going to do, but they also knew that it would relieve them of some of the pressure they were feeling. That was why the two women chose to ignore what was about to happen. "What do you think, Brother Nanqi? Do you think we can have her?" Levi smiled slightly. "You should be asking Ganxing this question," Nanqi said calmly. "What do you think, Captain?" Levi said smilingly. Ganxing frowned a little before eyeing the winged race young man and woman. In the end, he sighed inwardly and said, "Do whatever you want." What are you trying to do?" The winged race girl screamed. "Brother! Save me!" The male winged race clansman screamed angrily and acted to fight till the end. Levi shook his head as a murderous glint passed through his eyes. "You shouldn't have come in here." He had already activated his bloodline power. Ganxing and Nanqi's self-control was stronger. They were about to turn away and leave with cool faces. "Enough!" Qin Lai yelled suddenly. Ganxing and Nanqi turned around to look at him strangely. Even Wuxia and Lu Yong, who had already moved some distance away, did the same. Levi was surprised at first, but he quickly smiled at Qin Lai and asked, "What is it? Are you interested to join us? Do you want to go first? Qin Lai had helped us a lot, so why not?" Nanqi nodded. Even he thought that Qin Lai wanted to claim that pitiful winged race girl for himself. It was why he had expressed his acknowledgement. "I can't believe that Qin Lai is just the same as Levi and Yan Feng. In the end, he's just as bad as they are." Wuxia shot a glance at Lu Yong and shook her head a little disappointedly. Lu Yong turned around and stared straight at Qin Lai. She looked like she was struggling and in disbelief. Men are all the same. Ganxing and Nanqi aren't exactly much better than them. "Humph," Wuxia added. It was at this moment Qin Lai said solemnly with a frown. "Give me face and let them leave, please." "Oh." Nanqi looked surprised. Ganxing was caught off guard as well. He asked in puzzlement, "Why? Give us a reason," Levi said in dissatisfaction. Yang Feng looked silently at him as well, noticing that a dramatic change had just occurred. Wuxia and Lu Yang hurried back to the group. They were both confused by Qin Lai's reaction and afraid for the squad's unity. The two winged race brother and sister who were about to fight them to their deaths hurriedly came to a stop too. Even they were staring at Qin Lai in puzzlement. Qin Lai remained calm in spite their gazes. After deliberating his words carefully, he said, "I recalled some things." "What is it?" Nanqi said. "Let them leave and I'll talk." Qin Lai said a little impatiently. "Do you fancy yourself our captain or something?" Levi snorted coldly. "Remember your place." "And what place am I at exactly?" Qin Lai asked in a low tone. "A mixed blood. That's what you are. You should be thankful you were even allowed to join us. How dare you try to tell us what to do?" Levi grew angry. "We've always done this for as long as we've followed Brother Nanqi. Do you really think you have the right to change our habits however you like?" "Damn that guy. This came out of nowhere. These winged race clansmen have nothing to do with you. So why are you interfering with us? He totally lacks manners." Nanqi's team members were berating Qin Lai furiously as well. They were all blaming him for interfering with things he had no right to. Nanqi's face turned dark as well. He knew how his teammates worked, and he didn't think that there was a problem even now. Qin Lai's outburst was both mystifying and annoying. The reason he allowed his squadmates to commit such acts was because it was a vent to them. It helped stabilize and keep the team together. He too believed that Qin Lai had interfered with something he shouldn't. "Qin Lai?" Ganxing let out a dry laugh while looking troubled. He was going to persuade Qin Lai to change his mind. Even he felt that Qin Lai's outburst had come out of nowhere. He didn't realize that images of Ling Yushi and Ling Xianxia kept flashing in place of the winged race brother and sister in Qin Lai's mind. He couldn't help but imagine him being helpless to stop people like Levi from committing such an atrocious act to the people he loved. "Let them go." Qin Lai cut off Ganxing's attempts of persuasion and snorted coldly. He said in an impatient tone, "Let them go or we can go our separate ways. I'll leave immediately." "What the hell is going on with you?" Levi exploded. "Lord Lian Wang had to pull strings everywhere to get you into this place? And now you're trying to leave us?" Nanqi snorted coldly with a dark look. "I knew you cannot be trusted when it matters." He looked at Ganxing. Before they came, he already told Ganxing to give up Qin Lai's spot to another rank 7 member in his squad. At the time, the reason he gave was that Qin Lai's identity was a little too sensitive. He was afraid that they wouldn't cooperate well when they entered the secret realm. But Ganxing hadn't agreed back then. The fact that Qin Lai did cause trouble, as he expected, only made Nanqi more cautious and dissatisfied. "We're all friends here, all right?" Wuxia came over and persuaded hurriedly, "Just stay calm. Are you all seriously going to tear each other apart for one winged race girl?" Lu Yang also yelled angrily, "Get the hell out of my sight right now." Ganxing turned around and stared coldly at the winged race brother and sister. The two winged race clansmen looked at Qin Lai deeply before they ran away wordlessly at top speed. Levi, Nanqi, and the others wanted to stop them, but in the end they chose to stay still, seeing that Nanqi hadn't said anything. When the winged race brother and sister left the Darklight Stone's range, and the Earth Spirit had stopped chasing after them, they knew that they wouldn't be able to catch them anymore. They had to rely on the Darklight Stone or Qin Lai's strange creatures to find them inside this absolute darkness. They themselves didn't have the ability to do this. "Forget it. I hope this won't happen a second time." Nanqi snorted coldly. "Qin Lai?" Ganxing shot him a wry smile. "What's going on with you? You've been looking strange since earlier." "What is it really?" Lu Yang asked softly. Qin Lai didn't answer him immediately. He finally spoke up after staying quiet for a moment. "We clearly don't agree eye to eye on everything, and we may very well butt heads against each other again in the future. In that case, I believe that it'll be better for both of us if we part ways. Qin Lai, Ganxing yelled. I will still go to Lord Lian Wang if I acquire anything from the secret realm that can be traded for merit points, Qin Lai said. Nanqi is right. I may affect your squad's cohesion if I continue to stay with you. We may as well part ways now so we don't get into an even bigger argument in the future. Why are you being so unreasonable all of a sudden? Ganxing said anxiously. You think we're dragging you down, don't you? Nanqi said coldly. Whatever you say. Qin Lai shrugged carelessly. It was true that he was trying his best to leave Ganxing, Nanqi, and the rest of the God Race clansmen behind. He didn't want to run into Ling Yusher's group while he was still with them and cause an even bigger conflict in the future. He didn't believe that they could accept Ling Yusher and the others as allies because they were high-rank Abyss Devils. Moreover, he wanted to find them as soon as possible and protect them from the very real threat of death. Ganxing and Nanqi's squad would only slow him down. He couldn't search for his loved ones freely while he was still with them. He knew he needed to part ways with Ganxing and the others the moment he recognized that Ling Yusher and her people was in very real danger and hardship right now. What nearly happened the two winged race siblings was a wake-up call to him. It made him feel both panic and worry. In the future, things like this will not occur. Seeing Qin Lai arguing to leave, Nanqi suddenly said gravely after a moment of silence. Levi and the other people looked at him with puzzlement. Qin Lai also stilled. He was determined to leave right now, but he had no appropriate excuse after Nanqi's declaration. I will restrain them. I promise nothing similar to this will occur. How about it? Nanqi said. Qin Lai, please do not leave? Lu Yang begged. Ganxing also looked at him expectantly. Qin Lai could not find a suitable excuse and hesitated. He nodded helplessly. Brother Nanqi, Levi shouted. Nanqi shook his head with a grave expression to stop him talking. Then he moved the Darklight Stone and led his members to the side. The four of them went somewhere else. Why do you tolerate him? Once they were far from Qin Lai and Ganxing, Levi could not stop himself from complaining in dissatisfaction. We need him, Nanqi sighed. Is he really so important to us? Levi snorted. Nanqi nodded and said, the spirits of void and chaos he trained can feel soul fluctuations here. This alone is a great advantage. If he leaves us, he only has to be careful and rely on the spirits of void and chaos. He can avoid the majority of threats. And us, even if we have the Darklight Stones, we cannot do that. When he said this, Levi and the other two people became silent. They knew Nanqi spoke the truth. The range of the Darklight Stone was limited. It most likely could not even illuminate beyond 10 meters. The spirits of void and chaos were different. Just now, the wood spirit led them to find winged race clansmen, and it had taken them an hour to reach this place. That was far beyond the limits of the Darklight Stone. Also, the spirits of void and chaos could guide Qin Lai to discover nearby signs of life. The Darklight Stone could not do this. No matter why, our reliance on Qin Lai temporarily is greater than his on us. Nanqi paused for a moment and then said, also, Qin Lai's combat power is extraordinary. His existence will make our squad stronger. Also, his understanding of the origin world is greater than ours. When he said this, Nanqi frowned. He sighed and said helplessly, regardless of whether you admit it or not, we rely greatly on him, and he does not rely on us nearly as much. Levi and the others heard his explanation and fell silent. They seriously considered Qin Lai's importance. After a while, Levi said with a cold expression, then we have to listen to him now? This guy thinks too highly of himself and he is a mixed blood. He might be troublesome in the future. Let's observe him more. This place is full of danger. High-rank Abyss Devils like Vicente are difficult opponents. Also, if we encounter those from the bottom 8 Abyss levels, we will have an even bigger headache. For the entire group, we need to temporarily endure. Otherwise, it will only become more difficult in the future. Nanqi comforted the group. The trio trusted him for many years and calmed after hearing his explanation. We will listen to you. On the other side, Ganxing had a sincere expression as he said, Qin Lai, what is up with you? Whatever it is, tell us. We will think of a way to resolve the situation. He could see something wrong with Qin Lai and knew that something must have happened to Qin Lai. Otherwise, Qin Lai would not appear so determined to leave. Yan Feng was silent. He looked at Qin Lai with complicated gaze and did not speak. Wuxia and Lu Yang all asked about the reason. They all suddenly felt Qin Lai was different. Under the four's puzzled gaze, Qin Lai hesitated and then said, "Some of my friends have entered here." "Friends? What kind of friends?" "Very close ones," Ganxing asked. "They were previously a race of Nether Realm," Qin Lai said. "The races of Nether Realm." Ganxing's expression shifted. He thought for a moment and said, "You understand the Abyss, so you should know the connection between the blood of the Nether Realm races and the Abyss Devils." Qin Lai nodded and said, "Their bloodline comes from the Abyss Devils. Tell me the details." Ganxing sighed. Qin Lai did not hide anything. He explained how the Devil Monarch of the 8 Purgatories suddenly appeared in Frost Desolation Abyss and guided Ling Yusher and her group into the secret realm. After saying this, he added, "They are people closest to me." "Closest?" Ganxing understood and nodded slowly. He said, "You want to find an excuse to leave, and then find them?" "Yes." Qin Lai did not deny it. "Do you know how to search?" Ganxing asked. Qin Lai grimaced and shook his head. "So basically you want to leave us, but you don't know how to find them. And even if you do, if you are attacked by high-rank Abyss Devils in the process, do you have confidence in being able to deal with them by yourself?" Ganxing said. "No," Qin Lai said. Ganxing thought for a moment and said, "Stay with us. I will take time and communicate with Nanqi and the others about your worries. I promise you if we encounter your friends, we will not attack." Qin Lai's expression shook. He said, "Thank you. This is not as terrible as you think. Even if they are high-rank Abyss Devil, if they do not threaten or attack us, we can be at peace with them," Ganxing said. Qin Lai's worries slowly eased. In the next period Ganxing, Nanqi, and the others continued to advance through the origin world. However, there was a gap between him and Nanqi's group. Whenever they rested, Nanqi's group would distance themselves from him to avoid any arguments. Qin Lai would frequently summon the spirits of void and chaos. When they woke up, they acted as his eyes in the secret realm. They roamed around and brought news back to him. But the spirits of void and chaos did not discover anything as of late. That day, they were in an endless wilderness, taking advantage of the wonders of the origin world to comprehend the secrets of their bloodline. Suddenly, Wuxia shouted in excitement. Qin Lai quickly rushed towards her. Ganxing, Nanqi, Yan Feng, and the others hurriedly flew out of the darkness. I comprehended the secret of Flame World. My bloodline has awakened the Flame World latent ability." Lu Yang was overjoyed. A crimson flame world slowly formed as her bloodline power surged. It was the same as Qin Lai and Ganxing's flame world. Usually, the members of Blaze family would only awaken a new bloodline latent ability when their bloodline had a breakthrough. Lu Yang was rank 7, and had not reached rank 8, but she awakened the rare flame world latent ability. This could be said to be a miracle. Only inside the origin world can we awaken new bloodline latent abilities before our bloodline makes a breakthrough. Ganxing looked at the group. He had a smile on his face as he said, "Recently, I have comprehended some truths. If there are no accidents, I may also awaken a new bloodline latent ability soon." Nanqi and the others were secretly joyous when they heard him say this. Everyone's eyes shone as their spirits rose. "Qin Lai, what about you? Have you comprehended anything?" Lu Yang said curiously. Qin Lai shook his head. "No. Everyone work hard." Ganxing encouraged the group. Then, everyone separated and fell silent, concentrating on figuring out the secrets of their bloodline. Qin Lai separated from them but did not put his attention on his bloodline. His soul consciousness turned into a ray of soul intent and flew into the 4th level of the soul-suppressing orb to comprehend the mysteries of the high-grade ancient diagram. This high-grade ancient diagram he had studied for a long time was called sky-piercing. Based on his current understanding, if he could successfully inscribe sky-piercing, he could make an artifact and the user form a connection with the world. The sky-piercing ancient diagram could instantly manipulate all the power in the world for one's use, strengthening the user and the power of the artifact. However, he still had not truly comprehended sky-piercing after such a long time, and did not know how to inscribe it. He once tried to inscribe sky-piercing on a spirit tablet, but each time he drew just a few spirit lines, the spirit tablets exploded, seemingly unable to tolerate it. He could only give up. Maybe I can try using the bloodline power in my body to inscribe sky-piercing, he thought. After this, he notified Ganxing, and went further away from the group. In the darkness, his lifeblood essence floated into the air and surrounded his body. Threads of his soul consciousness went into the drops of his lifeblood essence. He tried to form this high-grade ancient diagram in the origin world of absolute darkness. Strangely, when he used his bloodline as ink and the sky of the secret realm as a spirit tablet, he had an unusually smooth time. When he drew more than 8,000 lines, everything collapsed because he did not have enough soul energy. It's possible with lifeblood essence, but I need more soul energy, he concluded. After that, he would frequently separate from Ganxing and the others, focusing his attention and soul power on comprehending the sky-piercing ancient diagram. He had to spend great amount of soul energy and lifeblood essence, but his understanding of sky-piercing grew deeper. He had a feeling that once he formed sky-piercing in this origin world of absolute darkness, it would give him a pleasant surprise. With these thoughts in mind, he spared no attention and soul energy on sky-piercing. Yeah. One day, when he was still immersed in comprehending sky-piercing, he received a message from one of the spirits of void and chaos. Everyone careful. Someone is nearing us, he warned. Ganxing, Nanqi and the others heard his warning. Hidden in the darkness, they prepared to fight. Soon, Ganxing, Nanqi, and the others gathered around him, all of them evidently eager. Someone is coming towards us? How many people? Ganxing appeared excited. Recently, they had been cultivating and moving around to search for opponents to fight. But even the spirits of void and chaos did not find any signs of life for them to target. Ganxing and the others were disappointed. Suddenly hearing Qianlai's call, instead of being shocked, they were happy. Cover the light of the dark light stone. As long as Qianlai is here, we do not need the dark light stone, and this will avoid warning them, Ganxing said. Nanqi nodded. All right. He and Ganxing used special methods to conceal the light of the dark light stones in their hands and waited for people to arrive. They knew that Qianlai was unusually perceptive of his surroundings because of the spirits of void and chaos. If someone came within their range and they suddenly shone the light of dark light stones on them, it would have disastrous consequences for their enemies. They waited eagerly in silence. Just one person. Qianlai communicated with the wood spirit and was slightly puzzled. He did not know if that person had discovered their tracks. One person? Looking to die. Nanqi snickered. Regardless of who, 1 against us 9 will die. Ganxing was full of confidence. Yeah. Suddenly, the soul thought from the wood spirit became urgent. At this moment, the wood spirit had moved further away. It seemed to have made a new discovery. The wood spirit immediately sent a new message. What? There are almost 100 people nearby. How can that be? Qianlai suddenly frowned. Nanqi. Ganxing and the others saw the change in his expression and pressed. What happened? There's nearly 100 people nearby. Qianlai shouted. Coming together with that one? Ganxing shouted in shock. Shaking his head, Qianlai said, No. As he spoke, a thread of his soul consciousness went into the 4th level of the soul suppression orb and woke up the other 4 spirits of void and chaos. Spread out and pay close attention to the surroundings. Tell me immediately if something occurs. He commanded the 4 spirits of void and chaos. At this time, through the wood spirit's response, he felt something was wrong. Almost 100 strong life vibrations meant there were about 100 experts nearby. Their situation immediately turned grave. That person I felt first is about to come, he warned everyone. Everyone activated their bloodline power in the dark and prepared to act. Release the dark light stone, Ganxing shouted. Whoosh whoosh. He and Nanqi's 2 dark light stones flew into the sky like lanterns. 30 meters away, a figure suddenly appeared under the light of the dark light stone, completely covered in blood. Hong Kai of the profound ice family. Nanqi's expression changed and he shouted, clearly surprised. Qin Lai was also dazed. Heavens! It is you. Great! That youth who had stumbled when the 2 dark light stones rose into the sky had been horrified. But he became excited when he saw it was Nanqi and Ganxing. This person seemed about to cry. Hong Kai, why is it you? Where is everyone else? Ganxing shouted. Qin Lai looked deeply at this person. The member of the profound ice family that Nanqi and Ganxing called Hong Kai was disheveled. His clothing covered in dried blood. His eyes dispirited. He seemed to have taken a severe blow to both body and mind. Dead. All died. Maybe only Xian Luo escaped. Facing everyone's questions, Hong Kai had an expression of despair and terror. His emotions dropped. He suddenly reacted and said, "Quick, leave here. This place is not safe." "What is going on?" Ganxing said. "Put out the dark light stones. Quick. You will be found," Hong Kai shouted. Ganxing and Nanqi were hesitating. Qin Lai felt the soul vibrations through the 5 spirits of void and chaos and was startled. He said, "Listen to him." Ganxing and Nanqi hurriedly covered the dark light stones. "Look in the direction Hong Kai came from," Qin Lai warned. Everyone looked towards where Hong Kai had suddenly come from. Their minds suddenly shook. In the distant sky, an enormous dark light stone floated high in the sky. That dark light stone was hundreds of times larger than the 2 pieces they had. The enormous dark light stone's illumination range far surpassed their pieces. On top of it, there were many high-rank abyss devils. They seemed to be searching for something. There were also figures underneath the dark light stone, the high-rank abyss devils of different abyss levels. The powerful presences the wood spirit had felt came from them. At the same time, the other spirits of void and chaos he had released sent messages. Near that enormous dark light stone, there were a dozen life signs. Those people were fleeing just like Hong Kai. Of them, 3 were fleeing in the same direction as Hong Kai in their direction. Suddenly, Qin Lai understood the present situation and knew it was not good. "I think we need to temporarily avoid them," he said with a grim expression. "Oh!" Before Ganxing reacted in time, his attention was attracted by the enormous dark light stone. "Vicente seems to be on there." "Ah! Why would Vicente be with them?" Wuxia was uneasy. "A high-rank abyss devil from the 8 purgatories and many other abyss devils. They gathered dark light stones and are on a hunt for those of other races." Hong Kai had a terrified expression. He explained to the group, "We were unfortunate to become their prey. Other than Xian Luo and myself, everyone may have been killed." When he said this, Nanqi and Ganxing all had solemn expressions. Qin Lai said urgently, "Stop talking, we have to leave first." "He is right, retreat first. We have to gather all 5 families if we are to fight that collective group of abyss devils," Hong Kai shouted. "Go! Qin Lai, lead the way," Ganxing said decisively. "Follow me." Qin Lai did not give up on his responsibilities. He communicated with the 5 spirits of void and chaos to detect the surrounding beings and then commanded Ganxing and the others. The group did not dare to show the light of the dark light stones. They quickly moved away from the danger area. In the distant sky, on a side of the enormous dark light stone opposite Qin Lai was Enos of the Frost Desolation Abyss. At this moment, icy light flew out of Enos's purple eyes as she used this dark light stone to search for nearby targets. Suddenly, her bloodline gave off strange vibrations. Light flashed through her eyes. "Over there. There are members of the Blaze family over there." Enos used the connection of her blood. She pointed in the direction Qin Lai and the others were fleeing in and said with great confidence, "Chase them." A dark voice came from inside the dark light stone. Immediately, This extremely large dark light stone flew towards Qin Lai and the others. Not good. That dark light stone is chasing us. Nanqi paled. A moment earlier, he had noticed there were a dozen abyss devils as strong as Vicente sitting on that dark light stone. However, below were even more abyss devils chasing the stragglers. Almost 100 powerful abyss devils that were commanded by a terrifying existence from the bottom 8 levels. This force could reign supreme and sweep through the origin world. Unless they could gather with light, bloodthirst, and darkness families, their forces would not be a match. After realizing this, he and Ganxing had no thoughts of staying behind to fight. He only wanted to leave this area that the devils targeted. Ganxing, we will first split up. Qin Lai suddenly shouted. I will find you later. What? Nanqi screamed. You are leaving us now? Without your direction, how can we avoid the enemy? Just go back the original way, Qin Lai said. Qin Lai, you are leaving us now because you want us to die. Nanqi shouted angrily. Levi and the others became angry, feeling that Qin Lai was backstabbing them. Ganxing, I will have a spirit of void and chaos follow you. Once I shake them off, I will find you. Ignoring Nanqi and Levi, Qin Lai said seriously, there is a high-rank abyss devil from the Frost Desolation Abyss on that dark light stone. Her father once left an imprint on me. That's how she has discovered me. They are not chasing us. They are chasing me. I will only harm you by staying with you. This origin world is different from the abyss. In this darkness, if I stay far enough, she will not be able to find me. You were the one who had been discovered? Really? Levi said in disbelief. See you later. Be careful, I will find you, Qin Lai said impatiently. Then he left without waiting for Ganxing to respond. Once he separated Ganxing and the others, he immediately changed directly and sprinted with the full force of his bloodline power. The power of the 8-eyed demon spirit bloodline and the Blitz Thunder escape allowed him to far surpass Ganxing and the others in speed. Soon later, that feeling of being observed disappeared from his mind. Ya, ya. A message from the wood spirit came in time to warn him someone was nearby. They are also fleeing. Finding that he had avoided Enos's bloodline perception, he hesitated and then moved towards that life sign according to the wood spirit's directions. A few minutes later, he came to his destination. Before he stood still, he heard the howl of ice in the air. Xian Luo. At the entrance to the secret realm, he and Xian Luo had fought. He was familiar with Xian Luo's bloodline. Hearing the roar in the air and the incoming icy presence, he immediately determined Xian Luo was the attacker in the darkness. You are Qin Lai. In the darkness, Xian Luo was shocked and stopped his attack. Hong Kai was right. You are still alive, Qin Lai said gravely. You saw Hong Kai? He is still alive. Xian Luo was excited. He and Ganxing are together, Qin Lai answered. As long as he is alive. I thought I was the only one left. Xian Luo spoke with clear frustration and sadness. Qin Lai did not speak. He remained silent as he mentally communicated with the spirits of void and chaos. He had used the Blitz Thunder escape successively to leave that hunting squad of high-rank abyss devils. Enos could no longer feel his location using her bloodline. In other words, albeit temporarily, he was safe. He tried to communicate with the thunder spirit following Ganxing and the others. He found that Ganxing's group was far from him and they should be still within Enos's range. Therefore, he was not in a hurry to meet up with Ganxing and the others. How come you are alone? What about them? Seeing Qin Lai's silence, Xian Luo hesitated and asked, What is their situation? One dead, Qin Lai said. Xian Luo was shocked. Just one dead? You did not encounter any enemy factions. We did, but we had good luck. We did not encounter a hunting squad of 100 powerful abyss devils. Qin Lai responded. Thinking for a moment, he said, In a while, I will send you to meet up with Ganxing and the others. You know where they are. You can find them? Xian Luo was shocked. Yes, when they are further away from the hunting squad, I will bring you over, Qin Lai said. Xian Luo was silent for a moment, and nodded. All right. At this moment, he was filled with curiosity towards Qin Lai. He did not know how Qin Lai managed to maintain contact with Ganxing and the others in the secret realm. He thought that his bloodline was stronger than Qin Lai's. But in this place, he could not see anything or feel anything with his soul. Therefore, once he separated from Hong Kai, he feared they would never meet again. He felt that Hong Kai was most likely dead. Hong Kai also thought the same, and Qin Lai, after separating from Ganxing, seemed able to reunite with Ganxing and the others at any time. This appeared fantastical to him. Ya! The four spirits of void and chaos roamed around as they messaged Qin Lai so he could see the surrounding situation clearly. After a while, Qin Lai suddenly said, Shen Luo, other than us? Is there anyone else being hunted by these abyss devils? The winged race, the bone race, and one or two members of the spirit race, Shen Luo answered. Qin Lai was shocked. The winged race was naturally slightly weaker than the four transcendent races, but the spirit race was one of the strongest races in the universe. The spirit race was also being chased. One or two. A moment later, he realized that the spirit race was like Shen Luo and the others. They were defeated because they were few in number. Some of the others are not far from us. Should we go take a look? He suddenly suggested. Just as he was being silent, the four spirits of void and chaos had discovered nearby presences. Through the spirits of void and chaos, he knew there were several soul vibrations active near them. Clearly, those people were ones being chased just like Shen Luo. Fortunately, this place was far from where the hunting squad was. This meant that they had successfully escaped as well. The group of 100 high-rank abyss devils, including Enos and Vicente, was so strong, he had no way of dealing with them. He knew just with the Blaze family alone, he would be torn to pieces by those abyss devils if he remained nearby. So an idea formed in his mind. You do not have a dark light stone. Who can you know people are nearby? Shen Luo said in shock. I have my methods, Qin Lai said casually. All right, I will go with you to look. Shen Luo remained puzzled. Qin Lai immediately led the way. An hour later, bursts of cracking came from in front of him and Shen Luo. Shen Luo heard the unusual sound and immediately knew their identity. He said, Are you a friend of the bone race? You are? A shrill voice asked in the language of the abyss. God race, Shen Luo answered. As long as you are not those abyss devils, the other responded. Following the brief exchange, a weak light appeared in front. It was a fist-sized piece of a dark light stone. Two skeletons that were about 1.5 meters tall appeared under the light of the dark light stone. Those were two members of the bone race. The bone race clansmen had neither flesh nor skin. Their bodies consisted of jade-like bones with a mysterious sheen. Their eyes were like jewels that shone with eerie light. They held a small piece of dark light stone each as they walked in front of Qin Lai and Shen Luo, their jewel-like eyes moving rapidly. You do not want to fight? A bone race clansman said. Shen Luo shook his head. Under the light of the dark light stone, his eyes lit up and he looked at Qin Lai. You are able to feel life vibrations in here? Your soul is not restricted here? The bone race member said in shock. Qin Lai shook his head. I am using another method. He looked curiously at the bone race clansman. Through this period of time and the memories of the soul beast, he gradually learned more about the races of the universe. The bone race was an unusual race, who was similarly just below the transcendent races in strength. In realms far from spirit realm, the bone race was famed. Yet in Qin Lai's eyes, these clansmen of the bone race looked like nothing more than living skeletons. However, their bones were not gray and matte. They were made of jade-like crystal that contained abundant refined flesh and blood energy. Their bones also flowed with marrow-like blood fluid. Their latent abilities were also powerful. The bone race was stronger in combat than the winged race, and had once ruled a part of the universe. If you do not want to fight, we will leave. We have to find other survivors of our race. A bone race member said coolly. That group is too strong. With just your strength and our strength, we cannot fight back. Qin Lai thought and said, I have a suggestion. Will you be interested? Working together? That bone race member immediately guessed Qin Lai's intentions and shook his head. I do not trust the god race. We only have to find other members of our race and leave here. We just have to avoid clashing against these abyss devils. You will have a difficult time finding your living members, but I can help, Qin Lai said. You can help us find the survivors? The bone race clansman was shocked. Yes, I can help you gather those of your races, Qin Lai answered. Prove it to us, and then we will decide once we have gathered. We are not leaders of our group. We don't have power to decide, the skeleton said. All right, Qin Lai responded. He immediately communicated with the four spirits of void and chaos. He had them remember the presences of the two bone race clansmen and had them search. Ya! Soon after, the water spirit sent a message from its area. Qin Lai's expression changed and he said, Follow me. Shen Luo and the two bone race clansmen hesitated and followed closely. An hour later, a bone race clansman about 170 centimeters appeared, their jade-like bones covered in cracks. He was taller than the other two, but only by a bit. The second the figure came into view, the other two lunged at him excitedly. Lord! Lord! You are still alive! You two idiots! Why are you with members of the god race? The tall skeleton shouted angrily. Lord! They led us to find you. The short bone race clansman's eyes flashed with hurt as he timidly responded. They led you here. The slightly taller bone race clansman was shocked. Lord, the god race wants to work with us against those high-rank abyss devils. What do you think? The shorter bone race clansman asked. Work with us. The leader's eyes flashed. His cracked skeleton seemed to be slowly healing. Layers of glowing light flowed on the surface of his bones and caused him to have an aura of authority. He thought for a while and his gaze landed on Shen Luo. How many god race members are there? Shen Luo said. About a dozen. Not enough, far from enough. He shook his head and said, There are nearly 100 high-rank abyss devils. They are too strong. Unless all 5 families of the god race are here, you will not be their match. He had fought the abyss devil hunting squad a while ago and knew their strength. Even if the 5 families gathered together, it was hard to say if they could prevail. Much less a dozen people. There is no need to work together. We will leave this area and avoid the damned abyss devils, he stated. Shen Luo felt there was nothing to say. He was the same as this bone race ringer. He had fought the high-rank abyss devils before, and the profound ice family squad he led had been greatly damaged. He himself had almost died. He felt that even if the Blaze family joined with the other families, they wouldn't be the hunting squad's match. Therefore, he didn't even try to persuade the other. Let's go. As long as we are far from the Origin Sea, we should be fine. The tall bone race clansman shouted. Origin Sea. Qin Lai's eyes lit up. He suddenly became excited and stood in front of the tall bone race clansman. He prepared to continue his persuasion. Move aside. The tall bone race clansman snorted and impatiently waved a hand towards him. A white burst of light flashed out of the arm bones of the bone race clansman. Threads of power flowed through his bones. An enormous force exploded from the palm of the bone race clansman and shrouded Qin Lai. Boom! Under that enormous force, Qin Lai stumbled back a dozen steps. The rays of bone energy splashed like starlight against him. He felt completely cold and unable to gather bloodline power momentarily. His expression changed when he looked at the bone race clansman again. Suddenly, he realized this bone race clansman was extremely powerful and could match Shen Luo and Nan Qi. His opinion of the other rose. What do you want? Shen Luo saw the bone race clansman attack. His expression turned cold and he activated his bloodline power, preparing to interfere. Lord! He led us to find you. The shorter bone race clansman urged when he saw the other attack. We will leave. Ignore the god race. If we go with them, we will die. The tall bone race clansman said impatiently. Wait a moment. Qin Lai shouted. What if we can gather more experts? What? The tall bone race clansman was shocked. You worry that even if you ally with the god race, you will not be a match for the Abyss Devils, right? Qianlai asked. We have no hope of victory, the taller bone race clansman said. If I can gather all the nearby members of other races, and make a force capable of fighting the high-rank Abyss Devils, will you be willing to fight them? Qianlai said seriously. You have that ability? The bone race clansman said curiously. Qianlai nodded and said with a smile, since you know of the Origin Sea, you should know its secrets. You also know why the high-rank Abyss Devils have gathered together and prevent other races from getting close, right? You also know the secret of the Origin Sea? He said in shock. Yes. Qianlai's eyes were grim. I also know of the Origin Crystal. What are you talking about? Shen Luo said in puzzlement. The tall bone race clansman was silent for a moment before saying, Are you truly able to gather the nearby races? Can you give me a bit of time? Qianlai said gravely. All right. The tall bone race clansman nodded. Qianlai first communicated with the spirits of void and chaos. After a while, he said to the 3 bone race clansmen and Shen Luo, that group of Abyss Devils has left. Shen Luo and the bone race clansmen understood what he meant. The group made out of high-rank Abyss Devils such as Enos and Vicente stayed near the Origin Sea. If any other squad came close, they would immediately start a slaughter. Shen Luo and the bone race clansmen knew their plans. In order to prevent any accidents from occurring, they wouldn't go far from the Origin Sea. Due to this, Shen Luo and the 3 bone race clansmen managed to successfully escape. After Qianlai said this, they thought of the habits of that group of Abyss Devils and confirmed that Qianlai had the ability to track the movements of those Abyss Devils. Shen Luo and the bone race clansmen felt slightly more convinced of his earlier statement. They will not come here. As long as you are nearby, you will be fine. Qianlai communicated with the spirits of void and chaos as he comforted them. There are no signs of life nearby. You will not encounter trouble. Please stay here while I go further and gather the escapees. Shen Luo and the 3 bone race clansmen nodded at the same time. Qianlai immediately used the Blitz Thunder Escape and started to move, guided by the 4 spirits of void and chaos. After about 2 hours, he found 4 heavily wounded winged race clansmen through the metal spirit. When he appeared, a dark light stone was releasing light. The winged race brother and sister he had let go previously were 2 of the 4. It's you! The winged race young female who had escaped once again shouted in shock when she saw him. God race! The other winged race male seemed extremely nervous and anxious. He prepared to fight, ignoring the blood on his body. Stop! The winged race female dissuaded. I found you in the hopes you will survive. Qianlai did not wait for them to speak and explained. I think you also want to get close to that Origin Sea. If you cultivate nearby, you can temper your bloodline power faster, right? The 4 winged race members nodded solemnly. Alas, that place has been taken over by a group of high-rank Abyss Devils. You cannot go there. And neither do we. He narrated what he said to the bone race and then said, If you agree, I will tell you our gathering place and guide you there. The 4 winged race members did not immediately agree and first discussed in the winged race language. After a while, the winged race young female said, We agree. Good. I will tell you the general direction. Just go straight and you can find the first group, Qianlai said. All right. The winged race female agreed. After concluding the negotiation, Qianlai once again used the Blitz Thunder Escape to search for survivors under the direction of the spirits of void and chaos. After a while, he found 3 other winged race members and 2 bone race clansmen. He also persuaded them to move to meet up with Shen Luo. Another hour later, after expending a great amount of spirit energy, he found 6 clansmen of the spirit race, guided by the earth spirit. 4 millstone-sized dark light stones floated above the 6 the spirit race youths, illuminating them thoroughly. God race! The 6 spirit race youths saw him appear, their expression darkening. The 6 of them had cold expressions. We have encountered a lone God race clansman. We will use his life to make up for what Xianxia has done. A handsome spirit race male with blue eyes and hair smiled coldly and waved his hand. Do not let him escape. The other 5 spirit race youths immediately scattered when they received his order. Qianlai saw the situation was not good and first fled to avoid being surrounded. Shit! What rotten luck! He cursed inside. The 6 spirit race clansmen saw Qianlai arrive and prepared to kill him without even giving him time to speak. They clearly had suffered at the hands of Hao Jie and the others. They had no good feelings towards the god race, and the red-haired Qianlai was also clearly a member of the Blaze family. Therefore, Qianlai became their target. Qianlai cursed inwardly as he hurriedly fled. He had to avoid being surrounded, which would make it hard to break free. The spirit race was like the god race, both were transcendent races and were extremely strong. These 6 spirit race clansmen did not split up facing the pursuit of the high-rank abyss devils, and dared to have the enormous Darklight stone float over them. This showed that their strength was extraordinary. Qianlai realized their power when they showed great discipline and strength as they released their bloodline presences. The 6 spirit race clansmen all had blue hair and eyes. They were also all handsome. When they attacked, blue bloodline curtains flew and shone like blue clouds. Qianlai, who had fought briefly against the 8-eyed demon spirit, immediately recognized the threat and moved away, seeing the blue clouds come. Qianlai raised his head and saw many scattered lights in the blue clouds. Those lights formed strange runes. Bloodline latent ability. Life lock. A profound and mysterious power suddenly surged out of the blue clouds and the blue runes. Qianlai, who had been about to activate his Blitz Thunder escape and use bloodline power to teleport away, seemed nailed to the ground. He could not move. The blue lights fell down like stars and drowned him. In the next moment, he felt extremely tired. The enormous physical energy inside him was chained up, and even his abundant life force seemed to be greatly burdened. He could not activate his bloodline power. The Blaze family is truly not as strong as the Bloodthirst family. He doesn't even try to dodge or fight with his bloodline against our life lock, said a spirit race male as the rest shook their heads. His tone was full of disdain. No wonder in the last 20,000 years, the status of the Blaze family has been declining among the god race. Yes, the Blaze family, which dominated for a time, clearly has declined after the last patriarch disappeared. A beautiful spirit race female judged disappointedly. At this moment, the 6 spirit race clansmen circled around Qianlai. Blue clouds floated above Qianlai's head and seemed to have been a fearful restraint. Qianlai's bloodline power and life force couldn't be activated. Qianlai's crimson eyes were filled with shock. This was his first time truly fighting against the spirit race. The 8-eyed demon spirit he had encountered near the Eastern barbarians last time was supposedly only a formidable pet of the spirit race. He, who was not familiar with the spirit race's fighting methods and bloodline, faced 6 spirit race clansmen from the get-go. Before he could use his power, he was stuck in such an awkward state. His life force and bloodline power had both been restrained. He was at a disadvantage. Not long ago, we encountered Bloodthirst families Hao Jie in another area. We were greatly pressed by the Bloodthirst family. Many of our Darklight stones were stolen by Hao Jie, and we were seriously injured. The handsome spirit race clansman who appeared to be the leader seemed idle after Qianlai was trapped by the lifelock and slowly stated why they had attacked Qianlai. Then he said, "Just now, we were also forced to flee by the Abyss Devils and used up a great amount of bloodline power. Haha, your arrival can coincidentally make up for a bit of our losses. Baggy, we urgently need to recover bloodline power. Should we use life extraction art to drain his life force?" A beautiful spirit race woman said. "Yes. There is no need to waste time with him." Baji nodded gently and said, "Sienna, you are most seriously wounded. Take more of his life force. Your bloodline latent ability is very important to us." He then commanded the other 4 spirit race clansmen, "Do not steal from Sienna." The other 4 nodded slowly. The beautiful spirit race female they called Sienna did not refuse. "Yes, in the present situation, I should recover first." The 6 spirit race clansmen quickly reached an agreement on how to distribute Qianlai's life force. They raised their heads and looked towards the blue clouds on top of Qianlai's head, as though they were about to start. Qianlai's expression was cold. He frowned and said, I found you in the hopes of allying with the spirit race against those high-rank abyss devils and getting closer to the origin sea. Ally? Baggy had a disdainful expression. With just your Blaze family? Also the bone and winged races, Qianlai said. Too weak. Baggy shook his head. There's almost 100 abyss devils, and also a terrifying guy from the 8 purgatories commanding them. This force is enough to sweep through this origin world. No one else except them can get close to that origin sea. This is a secret realm of the abyss, the home of the devils. Now that the abyss devils have united, it is not realistic for us to go close to the origin sea and steal what is inside. Sienna shook her head. We do not want to lose more members, and have no interest in working with the Blaze family. The two of them clearly lacked confidence in the combined strength of the Blaze family and the bone and winged races. They only wanted to absorb enough life force through Qianlai, get far away from the origin sea, and then comprehend their bloodline in other parts of the secret realm. Boy, do not try to think of any schemes. You will lose the ability to think soon. A spirit race clansman shouted impatiently. How Jie killed one of my brothers. Let's finish him and find the young mistress while she has astounding bloodline latent ability. She is too young. I worry she will encounter trouble here. When he mentioned young mistress, the other spirit race clansmen frowned, their expressions turning serious. Baggy, who had wanted to play with Qianlai, nodded after a moment of silence and said, Attack! The other 5 immediately activated their bloodline power. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Bright blue lights floated out of their bodies, forming rainbows that shot towards Qianlai. You really think you can restrain me? Facing the rays of blue light, Qianlai laughed. He had no fear on his face and easily shot towards the space between Sienna and Baggy. Snap, snap, snap. Millions of bolts of lightning draped over him like armor. Those bolts of lightning, accompanied by roars of thunder, crushed the blue clouds above his head. The life lock on his body immediately dissipated as the blue clouds were destroyed. Life lock only worked against Qianlai's bloodline power and life force. But Qianlai had other powers to use. He had multiple types of spirit energy in his dantian. Life lock had no effect on these powers whatsoever. In fact, after he had torn down the life lock with the power of thunder and lightning, even his bloodline power returned to normal. The 2 spirit race clansmen, Baggy and Sienna, knew that things had gone awry the moment the blue clouds were crushed into pieces. However, they had just gathered their bloodline power and tried to extract Qianlai's refined life force by executing the life extraction art just now. They couldn't redirect their strength and force Qianlai back to where he was immediately. Crack! A thick lightning bolt rose from behind Qianlai's neck. He immediately looked like a real threat to his opponents. Watch out! Sienna yelled. He's a mixed blood. Baggy also came to realization. Swoosh! A flash later, Qianlai slipped through the gap between Baggy and Sienna like a ghost. The intense feeling of discomfort that had been plaguing him after he was surrounded by the 6 spirit race clansmen vanished instantly. Heavenly Thunder Eradication. 9 Thunder Blast. At the same time, many dazzling thunderballs appeared in the middle of the 6 spirit race clansmen and exploded instantly. Boom, boom, boom. The huge thunderballs exploded into a sea of thunder right in the middle of the group. The spirit race clansmen had no choice to back off as they endured the violent push of the attack. They all wore ugly looks on their faces. Qianlai had already pulled away during the meantime and seized the opportunity to attack yet again. Profound Thunder Heart. A giant thunderball swelled rapidly between Qianlai's palm. Thump, thump. Thump, thump. Strange, deafening beatings kept ringing from inside the thunderball. The battlefield suddenly transformed into a deadly thunder magnetic field. Crack, crack. Lightning suddenly appeared above the spirit race clansmen's heads. It moved the giant dark light stone all of the sudden. Not good. Baggy's expression changed. He realized that the bloodline power he applied onto the giant dark light stone had been corroded by thunder and lightning before he realized it. The dark light stone flew out of control as a result. A bright yellow light screen flew across the air and enveloped the dark light stone they fought so hard for entirely. The disc-sized stone's light was immediately cut off the second it was enveloped within. Baggy, Sienna, and the others discovered that they had returned to the world of absolute darkness. They could no longer track Qianlai. Crack! Crack! Thump thump! All that was left in darkness was the sound of lightning sparks and the strange beating of the profound thunder heart. Unfortunately for them, they couldn't see the flashes of lightning themselves. The origin world's absolute darkness had devoured even the lightning that was being discharged by Qianlai. Form up, everyone! Baggy immediately called out to his clansmen and moved towards Sienna the moment he noticed that the situation was bad. Sienna became the center of their group. Bloodline ability life scan. Sienna activated her bloodline ability in the darkness and caused strange waves to spread out from her. Qianlai was also shrouded in darkness. Guided by the spirits of void and chaos, he was about to attack the 6 spirit race clansmen with profound thunder heart. The profound thunder heart could only be executed if he had a soul lock on the enemy or a clear direction. No matter how powerful the profound thunder heart was, he couldn't land a successful attack on the enemy's chest if he couldn't ascertain its target. After the Darklight Stone's light was shrouded by his power over the earth, both he and the spirit race clansmen had turned blind once more. However, he had the spirits of void and chaos to guide him. Naturally, he thought that he had the upper hand in this fight. But just as he was about to unleash his greatest attack, many void walls suddenly appeared around him. Boom! The void walls blocked all of his attacks. He failed to penetrate even a single one of them. In fact, his thunderous powers had rebounded on himself and caused him to spit blood. Over there, despite being shrouded in absolute darkness, the beautiful spirit race girl Sienna was able to accurately point it at the Darklight Stone floating somewhere above their heads. Deep blue light were fired at the Darklight Stone, so that the power of Earth enveloping it could be peeled away bit by bit. A moment later, the Darklight Stone didn't just regain its glow. It had fallen under the enemy's control once more. It flew towards Qianlai, stopped right above his head and exposed him completely. Sienna and the other spirit race clansmen remained shrouded in darkness because they were out of range. Not only was Qianlai illuminated by the Darklight Stone, he was surrounded by multiple void walls as well. His situation had become precarious once more. You can perceive me in darkness? Qianlai was able to direct his gaze at the 6 spirit race clansmen's hiding spot solemnly thanks to the guidance of a spirit of void and chaos. Even from this distance, Sienna's expression changed slightly as she exclaimed, "You know where we are too?" It was practically an admission to Qianlai's question. The origin world's absolute darkness had prevented Qianlai and all Blaze family members from perceiving the world around them with their soul. Similarly, the winged race and bone race couldn't perceive the world with their souls either. That was why he thought that all other races had to be in the same predicament as them as well. He thought that the spirit race was just as blind as they were. He understood now that there was always an exception. Just as he could perceive the souls and living beings around through spirits of void and chaos, Sienna of the spirit race clearly had her own way to perceive her surroundings as well. What a surprise! Still surrounded by the void walls, Qianlai thought to himself with strange eyes. He had been attacking fiercely the void walls again and again with the power of lightning and ice, but he ultimately failed to bring down even one of them. You're very powerful. You're not inferior to bloodthirst family youths at all. After discovering that Qianlai had a way to lock onto her, Sienna stopped hiding and walked out of the darkness with her clansmen. She stopped when she was about 10 meters away from him. If you weren't alone, if you were accompanied by the Blaze family, I admit the 6 of us would likely be no match for you all. After all, you're powerful even without the Darklight Stone to guide your way. That is a powerful advantage to have in this absolute darkness. The reason we're able to escape safely from the Abyss Devil's pursuit was all thanks to my special bloodline ability life scan. We need to thank our lucky stars that you, an enemy who has the power to see through this darkness, hasn't met up with Jie and his people yet. Otherwise, there would be no way we could beat you before our young mistress returns to us. You shouldn't have tried to challenge us alone. Now, death is the only place left for you. Sienna's gaze had turned as sharp as an icicle at this point. He's too powerful. We cannot let him meet up with those madmen in the Bloodthirst family, or he will become a threat in the future. I've restricted him with my Bloodline's spatial secret art. Kill him now. Don't even think about extracting his life force, Baggy ordered. The other 4 spirit race clansmen answered his orders before they surrounded Qianlai from 4 corners. They began forming some sort of mysterious formation with their bloodline powers. Ring of the Burning Sun. 7-ring rotation. Qianlai suddenly manifested a bunch of blazing discs suddenly appeared and rammed them against the walls blocking his way. Boom, boom, boom. The void walls Baggy had created with his bloodline power finally crumbled under the terrifying power of 7 rings of the burning sun. Baggy let out a dull groan as if he was struck in the chest by a powerful blow. He abruptly sat down on the ground. Qianlai immediately executed Blitz Thunder Escape and vanished right before their eyes after the void walls had exploded. The giant Darklight Stone wasn't able to illuminate Qianlai despite flying around in the air for a while. Damn it! I can't believe we let him escape, Sienna said reluctantly. This guy is extremely powerful. He may be just a tad weaker than Hao Jie. We have to be more careful in the future. I don't think this place is safe for us anymore. The rest of the spirit race clansmen bowed their heads dejectedly. They had attacked Qianlai as a group of 6, but not only did they fail to kill him, he had escaped through their clutches with relative ease. This failure was a massive blow to their morale. Qianlai exhausted much of his bloodline power because he had used ignition to execute 7-ring rotation earlier. That was why he didn't tango with the 6 spirit race clansmen any further after he escaped from their encirclement. The spirit race bloodline's strange, unpredictable ability had left a deep impression on him. He thought of fighting back using the spirits of void and chaos, but he had no idea if those spirit race clansmen had a way to counter them. He wouldn't make the mistake of underestimating them a second time. The spirit race is good in using their demon pets in battle. Their bloodline is also profoundly strange. After leaving the 6 spirit race group, he began contacting his soul beast avatar in search for any memories regarding the spirit race. Although he couldn't open a star door with his bloodline power, he could still communicate with his soul beast avatar anytime he wanted to. Strange waves exploded in his mind as scattered memories flowed into his mind. He digested them bit by bit. The spirit race's bloodline is intricately and profoundly tied to space, life, time, fate, and other profound laws of the world. Shock appeared on his face as he trembled after deciphering the memories. He suddenly felt like he understood the spirit race more. Void Wall, Life Lock, Life Scan, Life Extraction Art. It was true that the bloodline abilities and secret arts executed by the 6 spirit race clansmen were related to the secrets of life and space itself. Had he not have his spirit energy to aid in the time of crisis, he would have been hard-pressed to escape their clutches. Space, time, life, and fate. These 4 strange systems made up the backbone of the spirit race's bloodline power. A member of the spirit race would be able to manifest these powers from their bloodline. Space. His eyes flashed as he recalled the 8-eyed demon spirit and its bloodline ability, Star Door. The ability had awakened after he drank the 8-eyed demon spirit's blood and fused with it completely. He knew better than anyone the intricacies of Star Door, and he was highly reliant on it due to its sheer convenience. The spirit race's bloodline contained the 4 most profound secrets of the world: space, time, life, and fate. It was no wonder that this race came to be known as one of the 4 transcendent bloodline races, just like the God race, Soul race, and Abyss Devil race. After thinking for a moment, he realized that the 6 spirit race clansmen were probably not the cream of the crop. It was likely that the young mistress they spoke of was their true leader. They were probably a genius just like Hao Jie and Song Yi. The spirit race truly deserves their title as a transcendent bloodline race. Their 4 bloodline systems are in no way inferior to the 5 familial bloodline powers of the God race. Suddenly, he grew new expectations towards his 8-eyed demon spirit bloodline. After the fight, he didn't try to seek out that 6 spirit race clansmen alone. Instead, he kept searching for more bone race and winged race clansmen using the spirits of void and chaos. When the high-rank Abyss Devils discovered that most of the escapees had moved away from the Origin Sea, they stopped chasing after them. The surviving Bone Race and Winged Race clansmen started moving towards Shen Luo's location under his persuasions. Finally, he went back to Ganxing and the others under the Thunder Spirit's guidance. 2 dark light stones floated in the air like oil lamps. Ganxing, Nanqi, and everyone else were sitting quietly. Their faces were dark and solemn. They had moved far, far away from the Origin Sea, and it had been a while since they encountered any hunters. For now, they were safe. Unfortunately, they had also lost their ability to perceive their surroundings after Qinlai had gone away. It was a huge blow to their team, to say the least. It sure sounded nice when he said he'll come back to us, but he's done nothing to prove his words so far. A chilly-looking levy suddenly broke the silence. Mixed bloods can't be trusted after all. Maybe we're just a bunch of useless burdens to him, said another martial practitioner under Nanqi. He can sense any life signs nearby, and that is an incredible ability in this place. We wouldn't have lost so many people if he was in our team. Hong Kai of the Profound Ice family sighed. Ganxing, Wuxia, Lu Yang, and the others kept quiet despite their accusations. They were not in a position to offer a retort. After all, it had been far, far too long since Qinlai left them. He should have returned a long time ago if he really intended to come back. Forget Nanqi and his people, even Ganxing was slowly starting to lose his confidence. Now that he had learned of Ling Yusher and her people, he had no choice but to suspect that Qinlai had ditched them for his fiancée. After all, Qinlai could escape any powerful team with the spirits of void and chaos easily now that he was alone. If he was careful, there was almost no way he would come under threat in the Origin world. That was why even he thought that Qinlai wasn't coming back. He's not like this. He said he'll come back to us, and he definitely will. Lu Yang suddenly spoke up. He should have returned if he really wanted to. It has been too long, Yan Feng said indifferently. Maybe he was delayed by something? Lu Yang said uncertainly. Yan Feng snorted and shook his head. He didn't say anything, but the deep disappointment on his face was evident enough. Let's go. Qinlai. Let's assume that he's dead already. Nanqi stood up. Levi and the others immediately stood up with dark looks. Ganxing shook his head while smiling bitterly. He too got up to his feet. Sai, we have no idea where to go after we lost him. What should we do if we accidentally run into those abyss devils again? Wuxia looked very worried. Surely we can live without him? Levi snorted. Wuxia's face turned cold. He might not have left if it wasn't for your terrible habits. Just like Lu Yang, she had never been comfortable with their actions. The only reason they chose to ignore it was for the sake of the team. Now Qinlai was gone, and she had to listen to Levi's incessant ridicule. It was why she had gotten angry. This has always been how we functioned. Levi grew angry. You've worked together with us in the past, you knew very well how we operate. But you still sought us out to form a team, haven't you? Also, Yan Feng is just the same as I am. What do you have to say about that? Wuxia and Lu Yang were immediately silenced. Yan Feng looked embarrassed as well. He shot Levi a glare, but didn't deny the accusation. All right. If you keep arguing like this, I'm pretty sure you guys will go your separate ways very soon. Hong Kai persuaded. He was a member of the Profound Ice family, and he only obeyed Shen Luo in the Origin world. He had no respect for Ganxing or Nanqi whatsoever. He found it very strange that this team would argue so fiercely over a single mixed blood. What confounded him even more was that Ganxing and Nanqi, the leaders of the group, had remained silent while both sides were arguing. He had no choice but to stand up and mediate things despite being an outsider. Suddenly, he realized that a rift had appeared within this Blaze family squad. Ganxing and Nanqi clearly held different opinions regarding Qinlai. In Hong Kai's opinion, the Blaze family was already weaker compared to the other families. If Ganxing and Nanqi were to go their separate ways, their combat strength would obviously grow weaker. The Profound Ice family had already been destroyed. He didn't wish for the Blaze family to meet the same ending because of internal conflict. Swoosh! It was at this moment a blue lightning abruptly struck the center of the group. When the lightning faded, Qinlai's figure came into view. He asked in astonishment, What are you guys arguing about? Qin Lai. Lu Yong and Wuxia abruptly screamed in joy when they saw him. I told you he'd come back to us, Lu Yong cried. Yanfeng looked surprised for a second, but he gave Qin Lai a nod and said indifferently, Glad you're willing to come back. Gan Xing smiled slightly as if nothing had ever happened. He asked, Why were you gone for such a long time? We thought you left us, you know? I ran into a few things. Qin Lai gave him a smile before explaining, I found Xian Luo. Hong Kai shuddered before asking excitedly, Is he still alive? He's doing well. Qin Lai answered. Who else? Who else is with him? Hong Kai looked very happy. Qin Lai fell silent for a moment before answering. There is only Xian Luo. Hong Kai suddenly looked depressed once more. Although Xian Luo is alone, I did gather a lot of bone race and winged race clansmen in one place. If we can gather the rest of the families together, we may be strong enough to engage those abyss devils in battle, Qin Lai said. What? You gathered a bunch of bone race and winged race clansmen too? They agreed to work together with you? Gan Xing asked excitedly. Those abyss devils are holding the origin sea and keeping anyone from getting close to it. If we wish to understand the true secrets of the origin world, we must get close to the origin sea. Some of the people among the bone race and the winged race are aware of this as well. Qin Lai explained. However, none of us are strong enough to fight those abyss devils on our own. So, you're right, Gan Xing said. When Nanqi, Levy and the other members of the team saw that Qin Lai had returned, and gathered quite a number of bone race and winged race experts under his banner, they all fell silent all of a sudden. Qin Lai had actually heard their prior argument thanks to the Thunder Spirit. However, he pretended not to notice and said, Let me bring you to them now. They all nodded in unison, and so the group left the place while led by Qin Lai. Qin Lai just now. Gan Xing was walking with Qin Lai at the front. He looked a bit embarrassed and regretful. I must admit that even I was starting to doubt if you'd return just now. Qin Lai gave him a smile. It's natural to doubt. Gan Xing responded with a chuckle. Maybe it's because we don't know you well enough yet. Oh right, I ran into 6 spirit race clansmen earlier. They were very powerful and they rejected my offer of alliance because they were struck by how Jie earlier, I think. Do you think you can persuade them to join us? An idea suddenly struck Qin Lai. The spirit race? Gan Xing was caught off guard, but he quickly shook his head bitterly. We do not have good relations with them. It may not be easy to persuade them to join us. Not even for a temporary alliance? Qin Lai looked astonished. It'll be difficult? Gan Xing looked helpless regarding this matter. Song Yi, Hao Jie, and Ming Shi had all suffered heavy injuries when they fought against the spirit race in the past. Similarly, we've killed or heavily injured many spirit race experts in the past too. A cooperation between us is just not likely. Qin Lai pondered for a moment before answering. I understand. He never brought up the spirit race again after that. Not long after, the Blaze family team met up with Xian Luo, the bone race, and the winged race.